It's time to remember that. With Kyle Sandell.
Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent located downtown Midland. Well, the Tigers put up a combined 20 runs over the weekend in the 3-game set with Tampa Bay, but only come out with one win to show for it. And that's due to the fact that the pitching just wasn't on par this weekend for Detroit. A back-to-back blow-up start on Friday for Jack Flaherty. Saturday and Sunday, Brant Herter as an opener, as a mid-game reliever, just definitely has not looked like the Brant Herter that we saw for most of June. Kiter Montero has been sent down to AAA. Sawyer Gipson-Long probably had his worst outing of 2025 so far. So right now, the Tigers are in a spot where they really need to get some momentum going again back on the pitching side. Now, luckily for them, this week they have a 3-game series with the Athletics, so a good chance for them to maybe dial it back in a little bit. But man, does this team really need a healthy Reese Olson to return to this starting rotation? Because Jack Flaherty these last couple outings has not looked like himself, and Casey Mize has been a little bit slower to returning back to early season Casey Mize since he's dealt with a little bit of injuries. I say all this to say, is currently Tarek Skubal the lone starter in this rotation that you really trust right now 100% for the Tigers? If that's the case, then that means starting pitching once again becomes a big-time need at the trade deadline. Remember that. Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent, located downtown Midland.
Hey Midland, join the Silver Sneakers and Renew Active programs at the Midland Community Center, where fitness for seniors is fun and free. With Silver Sneakers and Renew Active, seniors 65 and older enjoy access to Greater Midland Community Center, North Family Center, and Coleman Family Center, all at no extra cost with eligible Medicare Advantage plans. Dive into all group fitness classes, exclusive Silver Sneakers classes, and our Greater Midland Walking Club. Get moving with Silver Sneakers and Renew Active at the Midland Community Center.
Something happens when we can't be our true selves. You can hear it in our laughs. There's the half-hearted chuckle. The courtesy conference caller.
Yeah, great.
And of course, the I'm only laughing because I'm dating your daughter.
Oh, that's so true.
If you want to laugh for real, try having some Miller Lite with some friends. It works. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2021 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin beer.
Here are 5 good reasons for high school multi-sport participation. Fewer overuse injuries, less opportunity for emotional burnout, exposure to different kids and coaches, exposure to different roles, and learning to compete better. Being a multi-sport participant can help a kid become a more well-rounded person. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
From the Blazy Electric Studios, this is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning, Bay City, Saginaw, Midland. Michigan sports aren't just a game, they're a way of life. And now we've got a show dedicated to die-hard sports fans like you. Hosted by a guy who's borderline obsessed with the wins and losses of all your favorite teams.
He's crazy.
Every weekday morning from 9 to noon, Ben Bosscher brings you the talk that matters. The teams, the stories, and the players you care about most. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. Appointment radio across the state.
Remember that. Hello, and welcome into the Ben Bosscher Show. I am Ben Bosscher. Kyle Sandell behind the glass producing for us today. We've got a great show planned out. We've got a great week ahead of ourselves. The Dow Championship in town, the Tigers coming back to Comerica Park. We're going to give tickets away to this weekend's game on Wednesday. And, of course, you know, the weekend ends with Sunday Night Baseball in Comerica Park. That's 6 days away. We've got a great show planned out. And like I said, we've got a lot of good stuff coming up this week, including the Dow Championship that's in town. But I want to start by kind of going over what happened this weekend. Last week I said, you know what? I want to start a new tradition Monday mornings at the beginning of the show. I want to rate the sports weekend 1 to 10. 1 to 10. Why not? I would give this one, I thought it was going to be a 10, really. Even with the Tigers' just weird schedule of all the rain and all the delays and the doubleheaders and losing a series to Tampa Bay, which they shouldn't have lost, but somewhat expected. We'll get into that here in just a second. But I was expecting this awesome weekend, all leading up to Sunday night. And then, 7 minutes into Game 7? I was so excited for Game 7. I'm rewatching the 2016 finals. I'm watching all these videos, learning about everything that's ever happened in a Game 7 of the NBA Finals, all leading up to 8 o'clock on Sunday night. And then, 7 minutes into the game, we have Tyrese Halliburton pop his ACL. And it's like, you knew it the second they showed the replay. You saw that's what happened in his calf. And you're like, oh my God. And we even said it last week, like the Pacers were flying a little close to the sun by having him go out there and play in these high-intensity games with this calf injury. And I think I even said last week, I almost hope for the Pacers' sake that they lose in Game 6, because if he has to go out there again in a Game 7, the most important game of his life, highest intensity moment of his life, things like that just happen when there's that much pressure on the players, physically and mentally, and then you know what happens. The rest of the game was just pretty disappointing. Kyle, I would say I give this sports weekend probably a 7.5 out of 10. I really thought it was going to be a 10, but the moment after Tyrese Halliburton snapped his Achilles last night, the Pacers hung in there for a second, but it got to a point in the second half where it was like, yeah, this Pacers team just doesn't quite have it without Tyrese Halliburton. And who knows, maybe if they had Tyrese Halliburton, they wouldn't have had it anyway. But just such a deflator for the weekend in general in sports. That sucked, because I was devastated as just someone who kind of fell in love with watching the Pacers over the course of the playoffs and the style of basketball that they play. I can't even imagine what some of the Indiana Pacers fans are going through, because I tried to put myself in their shoes last night and like, all right, what if the Pistons got all the way to the finals next season? Unexpected, all these buzzer beaters. Cade Cunningham goes from this top 15-ish player to all of a sudden we're talking about him in a completely different way. And then in Game 7 of the NBA Finals on the road, 42 minutes before you can possibly bring home a championship, the Achilles tears, and not only is he out for the rest of the game and the whole season's kind of just like this asterisk, but he's out for most of next year too. Just devastating on behalf of the Pacers fans. I feel for him this
and the way
Monday
that he started the game too.
Oh, I know.
Hit 3 threes. Got up to the best start possible. Yeah, I know we're going to get into it a little bit later, but man, I usually don't get emotional watching like teams that aren't mine. I was legit sad. I was very sad when that happened.
Devastating.
No one wanted to see that. I'd give it like a 6 though. Weekend.
What if Halliburton would have finished out that game?
Maybe like a 7 or 8 then.
Really? Game 7 of the NBA Finals doesn't do it for you?
Look, no football weekend cannot be rated higher than an 8.
I don't know about that. Happens. What if we have like NHL, NBA Finals both going? We've got a huge UFC fight, which we didn't this weekend, but like,
okay,
you don't think it's possible? Or
like,
we've got a Masters or something?
Full Sunday, Saturday slate of college and NFL great games?
I don't know if there's like Masters, NBA playoffs, like, I don't know. Maybe nothing tops like the NFL, but to max it out at a 7.5 or an 8,
you're right. And the Game
ridiculous.
7 NBA Finals potential was there to be really high. I would agree. Don't see that very often.
We'll circle back to the finals here in a little bit. The Tigers, on the other hand, they're down in Tampa Bay this weekend. And what we talk about all day on Friday, basically, is this schedule was brutal on behalf of the Tigers. I basically left Friday's show, closed it off, saying, I don't have a good feeling going to Tampa Bay. And I guess my superstition was right, or my intuition on this one, because just look at the schedule here, man. Thursday, they play a doubleheader, 2 different rain delays, 1 in each game. They're basically playing baseball from 1 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Thursday. Then they get on a plane and go to Tampa Bay. They don't get there until about 3 a.m. They play a 7 p.m. game on Friday. Another rain delay. They don't start until 7:55. Game, once again, ends at 11 o'clock. Then they go back to their hotel rooms in Tampa Bay, sleep for a few hours, wake up, and have a noon game for some reason on a Saturday, nonetheless. They play baseball. Luckily, they get the rest of the day off. And then Sunday, another noon game. Thanks, Rob Manfred. And another rain delay in the 9th inning. So just a weird schedule all around. You take all those games, and this is going to sound strange, but it's actually true. They played 5 games in about 72 hours with the doubleheader and then the quick turnaround and then the 2 noon games. They basically, from 1 p.m. on Thursday to Sunday at noon, 72 hours, they played 5 games in that span. With travel, I did not expect them to win that series. The game 1 went exactly how you thought it would. Just a blow up from the bullpen, and Jack Flaherty had another terrible start. I don't necessarily point to this series and say, well, the Tigers have a ton of issues. Someone expected they were due for one of these series at some point, and with the schedule, I think it just kind of built up over time, and you saw that happen. I was happy that they were able to find a win yesterday and not get swept. That's a sign of a good baseball team where, hey, back against the wall, you got to do it. But now, usually I'm like, what do I do on a Monday? There's no Tigers baseball on. Today, I'm thinking this is the best off day ever. So overdue. I know they didn't play on Wednesday because of the rain out, but this was a much needed off day for the Tigers before they start a homestand back in Comerica Park with the Athletics. Tuesday with Scooble on the mound, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then back at home for what should be a fun weekend series against Minnesota, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, ending on Sunday Night Baseball.
Yeah, this was probably the Tigers' toughest stretch of the season to this point. Maybe not from opponent-wise, because obviously you had the Pirates in there. You know, you're supposed to beat the Pirates or whatever. But I don't know, just this fact of having this many games in a row with the injury situation that they've had going on, specifically on the pitching side of things, the bullpen hasn't been great, so they've been getting used more often than they want. The starters haven't been great either, so we're seeing more bullpen guys than you probably want to. It's nice that they get this reset today and then not only have the day off, but get a stretch of games at home at Comerica Park as well.
Yeah, you mentioned the bullpen. I don't really pick on AJ Hinch all that often because I do think he's, like, in terms of being a step ahead and seeing what the lineup's going to look like in the 7th inning versus what it looks like when you put the lineup card out a few hours before the game. I think he's a super genius. So I don't really pick him apart as much as we would with a different manager. But the one thing that I cannot stand is an outing like Saturday where Sawyer Gipson-Long is scheduled to get the start, and then the lineup card comes out. It's like, actually, we're going to do another opener. What's the point of doing an opener when these bullpen guys suck? And I'm talking about Tyler Holton, Hannafy, Herter, whoever it ends up being. These guys are disastrous when they open these games, more often than not. What was it? Herter, 6 runs this weekend, only 4 of them earned. But it has that opener on Saturday for Sawyer Gipson-Long and just is a disaster, like right out of the gate. I think we're all way more excited to see Sawyer Gipson-Long. I think he's just a better pitcher. And you have all these guys in the bullpen struggling. Let's go through some ERAs in June. For Herter, 5.4. For Hannafy, 4.7. For Holton, 6.7. Like, these guys have been miserable here for the past couple of weeks. But for some reason, it's like, hey, let's open the game with them. In other words, you're asking to go down in the game in the first inning. I can't make sense of why do an opener when these guys are struggling pretty much every time they go out there right now. This has been a pretty horrific stretch for the bullpen, and it's something that we've highlighted here on the show more often than not is, all right, the Tigers are going to need to fix this issue at some point. And it feels like every series that the Tigers get through, it becomes more and more of a glaring issue. So I'm out on these openers for the most part. I get it. It's useful sometimes in the Kiter Montero situations, who is no longer on the Tigers right now, sent down to AAA for the Sawyer Gipson-Long situations. But if you're going to throw out a guy who's just miserable and is getting lit up, which has been all 3 of the guys that you'd think of as openers that are currently on the roster, don't even do it. It's simply not worth it to me. The other thing that happened this weekend, Riley Green just continuing to make a case to be an all-star. In June, 360, 410 on base percentage, 1037 OPS, 4 home runs, 19 RBIs. Had some spectacular plays in left field yesterday down oh my God, man. Jumped over the outfield, not the outfield wall. Is that considered the outfield wall? The foul wall?
Yeah, like going into foul play, yeah.
Yeah, going into foul territory. Leaped over the wall. I thought he was going to flip over the wall. Basically did. Caught himself, came back, Is he the fastest guy out there? No. Are most of his advanced numbers actually down in terms of defensively, bursting out of his stance, getting under? Yeah, all that stuff is not. The advanced stats say he's a worse defender than he was a couple of years back. But when he gets in range to make the play, he comes through basically every time. And that's the kind of stuff that makes Riley Green an all-star. We talked about it last week. Who's the face of this team? Whether it's Scooble, Riley Green. I'm not looking to have that conversation again, but Riley Green was doing face of the team stuff this weekend. When everyone was kind of struggling, I know they put up a boatload of runs this weekend, but ultimately did not win the series. But it felt like Riley Green was like, don't worry, guys. We're winning one single game. I'm going to do it on my own if I have to. Riley Green, well on his way to another all-star game. I just thought that was worth the mention. If we were doing a series MVP or a series chain, like we brought up yesterday, passed the chain around, Riley Green had it, so he'd have to give it off to someone else, but simply series MVP.
And just let him keep it.
Yeah, let him keep it, man. That was a ridiculous 3-game series for a guy, even though the team could not come out on top of the series. 989-837-6125. Like I said, we've got a great show planned out. What's the biggest need right now after this weekend for the Tigers? Is it bullpen? Is it starting pitching? They both seem like glaring needs at this point. More on the NBA Finals, what this means for the Pistons, with Halliburton most likely out for next season as well. We've got our Monday morning stock exchange coming up at the end of the 9 o'clock hour. We've got a fun around the league plan. We're going to squeak some Lions in. Dow Championship coming up later this week. A lot of good stuff. Before we get to any of that, though, I haven't told you about this yet, Kyle. I wanted to, and I was saving it for right now. I have a live read that I'm supposed to do for Sandy Ridge, but I figured, why not just tell you about my experience at Sandy Ridge this weekend? So I go there on Saturday. I go there on Saturday before the Loons game to get a quick round of 9 in. And I think this was my first time, second time going solo this summer to the course. And I don't know if I can do it again, man. I kind of had a crash out on the course. I need someone to go with me.
A public crash out?
A public crash out, but I made sure no one was around. Like, I don't think anybody heard me.
Okay, that's good.
Or saw me. But when
like slamming the club on the ground type crash out?
Launching my club across the green.
Ooh, way worse.
I hate this so much. I shot a 62, and I can't believe I'm saying this again. Yes, this is through 9. But I swear it could have been a 47. Because my drives are fine, my putts, my short game is actually good for being so inexperienced. Where I struggle right now is hitting the ball onto the green. Perfect drive.
Like your approach shot.
Perfect 7-iron. And then it's like, all right.
Oh, you're like chipping game.
Just chip it right onto the green, Ben, and I will shoot it over the green, back over the green, and just hit it from the same spot over and over. I did it 5 times in a row, just right over the green, and that's when I just launched my pitch. I made sure no one was around, and I just launched my pitching wedge. I was furious. It has nothing to do with the course. The course is fine. Like I said, Sandy Ridge, Midland's Hidden Gems, so awesome. Can't stay hidden anymore. It's a great course. The bartender hooked me up with nice high noon, some water. They've got ice that you got little coolers within the cart. Sandy Ridge is great. I'm the problem here.
Yeah, the golf game, though.
The golf game for me.
Different story.
I'm trying to get better, man, before this Loons Cup, this work invitational that we have here in a couple of weeks.
Me too.
But, man, the pitching wedge for me, I couldn't do it anymore. I was furious with myself this weekend.
Yeah, I'm not a solo golfer. It's actually terrifying to go solo golf for me.
Yeah, I don't think I can do it again.
Just solo range session. That's what you need.
989-837-6125. The NBA Finals wrap up last night. Devastating injury for Tyrese Halliburton. How does that affect the Pistons? We'll get to that next year on the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
It is the Scholar Athlete of the Month, proudly presented by Fisher Companies here on Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. This month's recipient is Logan Snyder from Bullet Creek High School. With a 3.94 GPA, Logan's a member of the varsity golf team, revitalizing a program that was dormant when he was a freshman 4 years ago. Logan great at golf and in the classroom, and also volunteers, including at the Midland Miracle Fields.
I love working with those kids, and it's always so much fun to see like them getting to play the game we all get to love to play. Just getting to see like them going up to bat, hitting the ball, no matter how far it goes, and they're just super excited. It just warms my heart every time.
Logan will be attending Ferris State in the fall and plans to study in their PGA Golf Management program. To hear the full interview and nominate a local athlete for our scholarship program, visit 1009themid.com.
Since 2007, the Michigan Baseball Foundation has invested over $1.8 million into our communities, supporting over 350 projects across 14 Michigan counties. From restoring Alma Little League fields to creating nature-based classrooms at the Chippewa Nature Center and enhancing accessibility at the middle of the Mitt Miracle Field, MBF is making a real difference. Every ticket to a Great Lakes Loons game helps fund these initiatives. Join us in building a stronger, more vibrant community. Learn more at MichiganBaseballFoundation.org.
Wackadoo! Bluey and her little sister Bingo are joining the Great Lakes Loons again this summer for Red, White, and Bluey Weekend presented by My Michigan How. It's 2 games of fun, laughter, and memories with our favorite Blue healer. Whether it's Saturday night or Sunday afternoon, don't miss out. For tickets, visit loons.com. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. Scrolling? Make it count. Want local sports content that actually matters? Yeah. 100.9 The Mitt is loaded with local highlights, viral plays, breaking sports news, and takes you can't get enough of.
It's hot!
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube today, and you'll never be out of the loop on the Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Michigan State, and even the biggest stories in high school sports in the Great Lakes Bay region. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan's sports leader.
Timeout.
All right. Remember, we're a team that plays together. Listen, the winning will take care of itself. We just have to get everyone involved.
In interscholastic sports, we celebrate what makes every one of us unique. And in the pursuit of a common goal, everyone in the huddle, in the bleachers, and in the community comes together. This message presented by the MHSAA and the Michigan Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Welcome back. Good morning. Happy Monday to everyone out there in the Great Lakes Bay region, and of course everyone on YouTube as well. Appreciate you guys hopping in that YouTube live stream. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. That goes for everyone listening in the Great Lakes Bay region as well. So with that being said, last night, NBA Finals. Man, I was so excited to watch this game. I'll fully admit, I rewatched the entire 2016 NBA Finals Game 7. It's like my favorite basketball, one of my favorite basketball games ever. I don't know if it's quite number one, but just in terms of how iconic it was, I just wanted to get a Game 7 feel. That game specifically, probably impossible to replicate just because of the implications. Best team of all time in the Warriors regular season-wise versus arguably the best player of all time in LeBron, 3-1 comeback. You get it. But I just wanted to replicate some sort of feel for Game 7 before Sunday night. So that's the game I decided to go. Probably could have gone a different direction, but I didn't. And one thing I noticed at the beginning of that game that I wrote down when I was watching it was LeBron was so passive in that first quarter. Not passive in a way where it's like, more so uninvolved, I would say, with intention. Intentionally uninvolved. Trying to get Kyrie, he had already played in a Game 7, trying to get Kyrie involved and comfortable taking shots early. Trying to get J.R. Smith even. And there's probably someone out there like, why on earth is he talking about this? Because I thought Halliburton started the game in the exact same fashion. Very first possession, Andrew Nembhard ends up playing point guard. Tyrese Halliburton doesn't even touch the ball. And he was totally content with, I'm going to let my team kind of get in a rhythm. I'm going to let my team kind of get in a rhythm first here before I kind of, put my imprint on the game. And I thought that was like super mature of Tyrese Halliburton because it was the exact same thing I noticed when I was watching the 2016 finals and how it started. It was, let's get everyone involved first. And that's kind of been Tyrese's thing, really his whole career, but specifically these playoffs is, I don't need to be a score first guy. I want to make sure my team is comfortable. And that's what I thought the biggest difference was between the Thunder and the Pacers, where the Thunder are super reliant on one guy. The Pacers are more so a team, right? So that's kind of how the game starts. And then with about halfway through the first quarter, Tyrese Halliburton's like, all right, that was fun. I'm just going to start launching threes. And he goes 3 for 4 in a span of 120 seconds,
and all
probably less.
Super deep too.
All ridiculously deep threes. He hits his first two, and then he misses the third, and then they get an offensive rebound. He's like, well, I'm just going to shoot it again. And he drills it. And then, 30 seconds later, tries driving to the basket. And his reaction, like before they even had a stoppage in play and showed him, I pointed at the TV. I was like, no way he just tore his Achilles. And then they show the replay, and you see the pop in the calf, and you see his reaction. He knows instantly. A lot of times these players, once they tear the Achilles, it's like they look confused. Most of the time, you hear people say, who kicked the back of my leg? That's what it feels like. He knew it instantly. Slammed the ground, just no. And you felt for him, man. Like, just devastating stuff. That's just not how you want to see a Game 7 of the NBA Finals start or end, for that matter. It's the third Achilles tear for the superstars. Just in these playoffs, Tatum, Damian Lillard, Tyrese Halliburton. The level of intensity is just so high nowadays in basketball that this kind of stuff just happens. Especially after the course of 82 games. Look, I don't think that there should be an asterisk on the Thunder title. I hate when people put asterisks on titles. Everyone had the same chances of win. Like, that's not where I'm going.
You can put one
this.
on every title.
Exactly. There shouldn't be an asterisk on it. The Thunder earned it. I don't think anyone should tell them otherwise, or they shouldn't listen to it. But when I think about the 2025 NBA Finals, I'm going to think of two things. How ridiculous the Thunder defense was, and Tyrese getting hurt in the first quarter of Game 7. Like, again, no asterisks, but that can't be swept under the rug here. And the Pacers, for about 5 minutes after Tyrese Halliburton got hurt, looked like the worst team to ever make it to a finals. Like, they couldn't get a good shot off. But then the 5 minutes after that, really like the entire second quarter, it was the Thunder who kind of took their foot off the gas. And the Pacers who were kind of, you know what, screw this. Like, we're playing for Tyrese. And the Thunder got a little playing on their heels-ish, like they thought it was just going to come to them naturally. Well, they obviously ramped it up in the third quarter. Defense did their defensive stuff, one of the best defenses we've seen in the last 20 years. But those would be the two things that I'm never going to forget about this finals. This Thunder defense, how ridiculously hard it was to even get a pass off, like just a standard cross-the-court pass. Wing to top of the keep, like impossible stuff. And then I'm going to think about the Tyrese Halliburton injury and what could have been with this Game 7. Devastating stuff.
There's no way you can't, like, it is the Tyrese Halliburton injury game.
More so than the Thunder win the title game?
It's not even like discrediting the Thunder, but how do you not think of that right away? In Game 7, your star player gets hurt in the first quarter in the fashion that he did and how emotional he was. He wasn't emotional because he was in pain. I mean, he was emotional because he knew what had just happened.
Yeah.
He's sitting there yelling, no, no, no. And it was just so sad, man. Like I said, I don't really get sad like that when it's not my own teams. I went into the game super neutral. I was like, this is Game 7. In 2016, I was hardcore rooting for the Cavs and LeBron, obviously. In this one, I didn't have one. I just wanted to watch a really good Game 7. And after that happened, I immediately found myself rooting for the Pacers. And I had a future bet on the Thunder to win. And I didn't even care about it. I was like, I want to see, this is like a movie. This is like a sports movie, a sports book. Somebody wrote this, and it felt like it was going to be, wow, the Pacers are going to do this for Tyrese. And then the Thunder go into the half, and they're like, okay, we're not about to let T.J. McConnell and Benedict Mathurin win a Game 7 over us.
And they almost
did.
did.
Their defense stepped up.
They almost did. We'll get to some more down that Eastern Conference, and Jason Tatum down. That Eastern Conference is wide open, and maybe, just maybe, it alters the plans for the Pistons this offseason. That's later. More Tigers coming up. Let's get to the news in the meantime.
The Mitt's Morning Catch.
All right, we got a ton to go over from the weekend. Starting off with the Thunder Game 7 victory, Shea has become the fourth player in NBA history to win a MVP, Finals MVP, and scoring title in the same season after winning Game 7 last night. He had probably one of his weirder games, right? 8 for 27 from the field, but still had 12 assists. Felt like he shot way better, honestly, especially how he started the game.
Yeah, I less so care about that in, what'd you say, 8 for 26?
Yeah.
It's Game 7. When Game 7 rolls around, you'll get some weird box scores just because it'll be such a physical game. My main takeaway with Shea last night was in Game 6, the Thunder, the Pacers completely sold out to stop this guy. They were double teaming him. They were triple teaming him. Every time he tried to drive, they were coming 3 guys right at him. And he didn't adjust. He had a ton of turnovers. In this game, he decided to start passing the ball way more often. He was like, I don't care how many points I score. We just need buckets. And the fact that he learned from that, like watching the film, coming back for Game 7, taking the Pacers' adjustments and having his own, that was the MVP I saw out there. That was the first, not the first time this finals, but that was like, all right, respect. Because I think a lot of people had a hard time respecting Shea, just the way he plays. His crossover stuff, like on the pick and rolls, dude, it's up there with some of the best players ever.
Just as a driver, he is one of the better drivers you'll see.
You can't stop him from getting to his spots.
Right.
And with the passing yesterday, I thought he leveled up in Game 7 in the finals, if that was even possible. So, yeah, great stuff from him. I don't really care about the bad shooting.
3 other players to achieve that. Michael Jordan 4 times, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Shaq. Pretty elite category to be in.
That's MVP, scoring champ, finals MVP?
Yes.
Yeah, good stuff.
Pretty awesome. We got some big NBA news Sunday morning. Finally, Kevin Durant traded, and it's to the Houston Rockets for a package of Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the 10th pick in Wednesday's NBA draft, and 5 second-round picks.
So somebody asked me about this on Sunday, because we were here when it happened at the Dow Diamond, the Loons Stadium. There's a Loons game going on. And I didn't have a ton of time to think about it then. And someone asked me, he was like, what do you think about this KD trade? I was like, I don't know. Like, you host a radio show. You're supposed to have a take on this. I was like, oh, okay, I'll get back to you later. I got to think about this. The more I thought about it, I think this trade, whether or not it's successful for Houston, completely depends on Amen Thompson hitting his ceiling or not. Because the thing about Amen Thompson, and Asar Thompson for that matter, is they're not going to be pure scorers, right? They're not going to be ever 25 to 30 points per game players. So Amen Thompson could theoretically hit his peak without stepping on Kevin Durant's shoes. Because what is Kevin Durant notoriously going to be known for? Being one of the greatest scorers of all time. So Kevin Durant, even at this age where you're not really reliant on him to drag your team to an NBA Finals or a playoffs for that matter, because he missed the playoffs last season, he can still average his 25 to 30 points a game, which that's kind of the area you're shooting for, without really truly being the best player on the team, or at least who the team is built around. Because I think them moving off of Jalen Green officially says, hey, we are building this team and this team's identity around Amen Thompson and what he brings to the table defensively. Because at his peak, I'd say he's like 16, 17 points per game, 9 rebounds, 7-8 assists, 3 blocks, 3 steals, defensive player of the year type stuff, and just a nightmare of a team in transition with him kind of heading that up. So I think he could hit his peak the same time Kevin Durant is still scoring 27 without them kind of stepping on each other's toes. That's how this trade is going to be deemed successful or not. Based on Amen Thompson. It has nothing to do with Kevin Durant. The Rockets' success has to do with Amen Thompson taking that other step forward. Because him getting to the paint, it's impossible to stay in front of him if he takes that next step. Literally impossible, widowy. So if he can take that next step, he's going to draw a ton of double teams. Good news for Kevin Durant. Because if people are helping off Kevin Durant, he's going to get buckets. That's my take on the KD trade.
Yeah, I think it's a great move for Houston. You'd have to give up a ton. There's been all the cons about trading for Kevin Durant that we've talked about.
This is a low-risk move for them.
This makes a lot of sense for Houston specifically, and for Kevin Durant, to be honest, right?
Yes.
They don't have a late-game guy. Now they do.
Addition by subtraction by getting rid of Jalen Green.
Yes. We'll go over a couple of the big ones here and then close it out. John Jones has retired from the UFC, Ben. Sad day. What are the odds that he comes out of retirement at some point?
I've got a take on that exact thing later on in the show. That's what you call a tease. I was heartbroken when I saw this. Like, seriously. He's like my all-time favorite UFC guy. I don't really remember his prime, obviously, but I get so excited. Even just going back and watching his highlights. This dude's a unit. And when I saw he retired, I will say, kind of ducking Tom Aspinall just a little bit. Because he basically came out and was like, money's not a motivation for me anymore. I can show up to a birthday and get $100,000. Like, the money's easy. If you're not internally motivated to go kill someone in the octagon, you're the one that's going to get killed. And feels like he just kind of ran out of that motivation to be there. So you can't put yourself in the octagon. The only issue I have with this is, why didn't you just retire after your last fight if you knew you weren't going to fight again? Because Tom Aspinall has been getting dragged along here for a while. When is this title going to happen? Because he was the interim champ. John Jones was the undisputed champ. And then it was like, when are these two going to fight each other for the real undisputed heavyweight championship? And we never got to fight. We got a year and a half of it just being dragged on. When is this happening? When is this happening? Never happens. I love John Jones, man. But yeah, kind of. I'm not going to call it a weak move. If you didn't have the motivation to fight someone, it is what it is, and he's the GOAT. He has nothing else to prove. But kind of ducked the Tom Aspinall fight.
Yeah, but calling John Jones weak, like,
did I say that?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you just got to respect this.
Yeah. Selfishly, I'm upset.
Right. We'll wrap it up there for the news. Pick up with the rest later.
All right. 989-837-6125. Bullpen or starting pitching. Both have become glaring needs for the Tigers. What is the higher priority for this Detroit Tigers team with the deadline about a month away? It's next year. The Ben Bosscher Show. 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show. Powered by the Forward Corporation. On 100.9 The Mitt.
This past weekend, the Loons wrapped up an 11-game homestand. The Loons took care of business on Saturday and Sunday, as did host Wade DePaula, homering twice. His homer on Saturday was against a lefty. DePaula, who is a lefty, smashed them all season long. As DePaula swings here, in the air to center, it's driving Levison back, continuing to carry, and that ball is up and out to deep left center field. In the windstream, and DePaula continues to mash lefties. Already had the Midwest League lead with 4 out of 5th. And overall, his 9th, a go-ahead 2-run shot. And it's 6-5. Great Lakes. Next up is 9 games on the road. It starts Tuesday in Fort Wayne, coverage at 6:50.
Fueled by wonder and powered by science. At Dow, we're imagining better things for our customers and communities. It starts with our commitment to reach carbon neutrality by 2050, designing, building, and inspiring for the world around us. Because when we wonder, the things our world needs could be just one breakthrough away. That's Dow.
Hi, I'm Dr. Brandon Scott at Scott Family Dental in Midland. As someone who was born and raised here, I would like to introduce myself by offering my services as your family dental provider. At Scott Family Dental, our mission is to provide excellent and personalized care using the latest technologies and best practices. Our highly trained and personable staff ensure you will feel comfortable along the way.
Dr. Scott is accepting new patients at 2509 West Wackerly Street next to the US 10 on-ramp. Scott Family Dental, let's bring out your best smile together.
Wackadoo! Bluey and her little sister Bingo are joining the Great Lakes Loons again this summer for Red, White, and Bluey Weekend presented by My Michigan How. It's 2 games of fun, laughter, and memories with our favorite Blue healer. Whether it's Saturday night or Sunday afternoon, don't miss out. For tickets, visit loons.com. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. You want sports takes? You want local voices that own the mic? Yeah. We've got it. On Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. It kicks off at 6 a.m. with Anthony Bellino on Spin on Sports.
Rise and shine.
From 9 to noon, don't miss Michigan's newest sports show, The Ben Bosscher Show.
Hey, remember that.
At noon, you get America's smartest sports takes, The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
I want Shador to play.
And at 3, the one and only Bill Simonson and The Huge Show. This is where real fans stay locked in. 100.9 The Mitt.
They tell us we're more connected these days. We have cell phones, email, text messaging, yet we've never felt more disconnected from the people we care about the most. We need a place that's all about bringing us together. Say hello to the Great Lakes Bay region, where towns like Saginaw, Midland, Bay City, Birch Run, Chesaning, and Frankenmuth help us leave behind the overscheduled world we live in and visit a place we haven't seen in a while. One where the people make us feel right at home. And we remember just how bright our kids' eyes get, peeking through a riverboat railing, just to catch a glimpse of the wildlife. So let's go fishing, bird watching. Let's blow the suds off a local tap, take a tall ship dinner cruise at sunset, or stop by a festival just because the name made us smile. Right here in the Great Lakes Bay region, where reconnecting with what really matters is pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Tigers bullpen, Tigers starting pitching, both I think have become vital needs for the Tigers at the trade deadline, which is just over a month away. So this weekend, again, every series we get through, it feels like both of these things become more and more of a glaring need for this team. And, the way that we talk about it, you'd think they're not a first-place team. They still are, and that's part of the benefit of having such a successful first couple months of the season is you're going to have a slip here at some point, but you built yourself enough of a cushion to where there's no need to hit the panic button. And again, I'm not trying to hit the panic button, but there should be some self-awareness that this team right now, if they were to just walk into the postseason, would have some red flags. Every team would. But the Tigers' red flag would be the bullpen and the starting pitching. The Tigers are realistically down to 2.5 starting pitchers right now between Tarek Skubal, obviously, and then I say 2 halves because you never know what version of Jack Flaherty you're getting. And Casey Mize just seems to not be the same guy he was at the beginning of the season. That could change. We could get a different version of Casey Mize his next outing, but I'm just telling you what I've seen here for the past month or so. Casey Mize just not up to the same standard he was at the beginning of the season. Reese Olson, desperately need him to come back. He's been out for quite some time here, about a month now. And they're in desperate need of him and probably an additional arm from outside of the clubhouse right now to help this starting group. Maybe that's Alex Cobb, who's still rehabbing, which what's new. Jackson Jobe obviously gone. The starters are going to need some help here because, again, they have found themselves in a situation where they need openers and bullpen days more often than they should need those things. And when it comes to the bullpen, I mean, we've been talking, this is the 4th week of the Ben Bosscher Show. We've been talking about this from the get-go, right from the jump is, yeah, they need to add another arm because if your name is not Will Vest and your name is not Tommy Kahnle, then you probably need to take a hike. And they're not getting rid of any of these. It's not like all of a sudden we're going to have all new guys in the bullpen. These guys are still going to be around. But all 3 of the main guys that come out of the bullpen in Herter, Hannafy, and Holton, untrustworthy. The 3 H's, Triple H, untrustworthy. So they may as well all be the same. Herter was having a nice little stretch here. Kyle kept reminding us of it so graciously, but
yeah, that's gone.
Gone. Out the window. Out
11
the window.
runs allowed in his last 4 outings, by the way.
Thank you. It's been such a disaster for those 3 guys out of the bullpen that anytime they go out there, I'm just like clenching. Like I get so nervous when those guys go out there because you just simply can't trust them right now. Vest has been great. Kahnle's been great. It's amazing that Vest has avoided going on IL here with that pinky injury, and it sounds like Casey Mize has avoided any sort of injury too. He got pulled from the game in the 6th inning this weekend because there was an apparent injury, but AJ Hinch says that he's totally fine. But between Holton, Hannafy, and Herter, it's like they're all the same person to me at this point. They go out there and they give up hits and runs. It's that simple. They need to add another bullpen, and now it feels like they need to add another starter unless in the off chance Alex Cobb comes back and you just get a bonus. But I don't think you can expect that, right? You can't just expect Alex Cobb to come back and give you something here. It'd be a nice bonus if he did, but that can't be the expectation. So you got to take matters into your own hands, and the bullpen has been so bad in June that I would say screw waiting for the trade deadline. You need to make a move now because the bullpen is an issue right now. I think they need to go after someone. Like, don't wait, 40 days until the trade deadline. It's like 37 days. Don't wait. Right. Go out and find someone who can help you now because if you don't, it's going to cost you a series. We saw it happen this weekend.
Well, they've made it very clear that they're trying to find answers in the bullpen, right? The signing of Carlos Hernandez, they send down Kiter Montero to bring Dylan Smith back up just to try to get a spark from somewhere. Like, to your point earlier about, I totally understand the philosophy of an opener to get the guy off to a smooth start that's going to come in and get the bulk innings, and it worked a ton last year. But when you don't trust any of those guys that are opening the games, then why are we doing it?
It's like, hey, you need 3 outs. That's all we're asking today to open the game.
So clearly to the Tigers, I would think they think bullpen is the bigger need because they've been trying to search for answers lately. But what I'll say is yesterday's game showed the scare of, hey, what if another starter got hurt? Like, I know Casey Mize hasn't been this guy that we're all in love with the last couple weeks, but he had a little bit of an injury scare after leaving yesterday's game. Now, it got confirmed that he's fine. But what if he wasn't fine? You know, we saw that with Will Vest. Like, anything can change like that. So it's been going back and forth between bullpen starting pitching these last couple of weeks even. But, man, if they lose another guy in this rotation, like you said, you can't trust Alex Cobb to return this season.
No.
Played 3 games last year.
And it feels like they're losing not due to injury, but just due to regression. Jack Flaherty here. He's only 29, but for some reason I always think he's older than that. Maybe that's because of all the back issues that he's dealt with and the regression that we've seen the past few seasons. Like, take into consideration his Ks per walk ratio. 2024 last year with the Tigers, so take out the Dodgers year, or the Dodgers run of it. 7-1. 7 strikeouts for every 1 walk. This year it's been 3-1. 3 strikeouts per every 1 walk. So he doesn't have the same velocity. He doesn't have the same command. The last 2 outings, he's given up 15 earned runs. Like, he had that awesome stretch there for about a month and a half.
For sure.
And then the back-to-back starts now where it's like, oh my God.
There's a difference between like having a blow-up start and what he's had these last 2.
He's only pitched 7 innings and has given up 15
this is
runs.
like really bad, you know?
8 walks, 8 Ks. He had 8 Ks all of May, to put that into perspective. 989.
He's just getting crushed.
Yes, it's pretty much that simple. 989-837-6125. Stock Market. That's how you say that. Stock Market Exchange. A Monday tradition. I can't even talk right now. This sun is killing me. We've got the sun. This is the first time that the sun has just been beaming me in the
80
background.
degrees at 7 a.m. this morning.
I'm sweating right now. The back of my shirt's going to be soaked by the end of the show because the sun is just killing me right now. And it's apparently throwing off my ability to speak. How about this? Monday morning stock exchange next here on the Ben Bosscher Show.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Experience world-class golf and family fun at the Dow Championship. Returning to Midland Country Club June 23rd to the 29th. Come and see top LPGA professionals compete in the only team-based event on the tour. Explore interactive fan experiences, family-friendly activities, and delicious local food vendors. Plus, veterans and children under 17 get in free. Don't miss out. Visit DowChampionship.com today for more information.
Suit up, Sea Captain. At Dive and Glide in Midland, we've got all the gear you need to make a splash. Flippers that fit like a glove, masks that show you the underwater magic, and tanks ready to fuel your next adventure. Whether you're snorkeling the local lakes or dreaming of ocean depths, Dive and Glide has your back and your fins. Find us on Cambridge Street or swim over to diveandglideinc.com. Dive and Glide, making waves one splash at a time so you can dive deeper than ever before.
Celebrate 4th of July with the Great Lakes Loons. Join us for our block party on Main, presented by the Michigan Army National Guard. Celebrate America's independence with face painting, balloon animals, the inflatable zone on the front lawn, and of course, America's pastime. The evening wraps up with a spectacular fireworks Loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. For tickets, visit loons.com. This isn't just baseball, it's the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team.
Looking for a casual space for your next Great Lakes Loons outing? Look no further than the Shoreline Box, Pier 47, presented by Applied Innovation, or the Peninsula, presented by Niles Industrial Coatings. The Shoreline Box puts you at field level down the third base line. Pier 47 gives you an exclusive open-air space on the concourse. And the Peninsula puts you in the prime spot to catch home run balls in right field. Call 989-837-BALL for information, or visit the tickets tab at loons.com.
Local sports don't stop when the game ends, and neither do we. 100.9 The Mitt is your digital home for the latest news across the state of Michigan. From high school to college and the pros, it's all on our socials. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search 100.9 The Mitt and join the squad. Stay locked in on the latest stats and stories with exclusive video takes from local talent. Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt.
I'm Ben Bosscher, and here's what I think. I think replay should be taken out of basketball entirely. I think 2 super conferences would fix college football. I think the best football, basketball, and baseball players of all time are currently playing. I think the day the Lions win the Super Bowl is going to be the greatest day of my life. I think Monty Williams sabotaged the Pistons on purpose, and you can't convince me otherwise. I think Jim Harbaugh is one of the best coaches of all time, but most definitely cheated, got caught, and ran away. And I think you should tune into the Ben Bosscher Show, fueled by Forward Energy, weekdays 9 to noon on 100.9 The Mitt if you agree with anything I just said.
You want sports takes? You want local voices that own the mic? Yeah. We've got it on Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. It kicks off at 6 a.m. with Anthony Bellino on Spin on Sports.
Rise and shine.
From 9 to noon, don't miss Michigan's newest sports show, The Ben Bosscher Show.
Hey, remember that.
At noon, you get America's smartest sports takes, The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
I want Shador to play.
And at 3, the one and only Bill Simonson and The Huge Show. This is where real fans stay locked in. 100.9 The Mitt. From Midland to Bay City, Saginaw to Sanford. From Frankenmuth, Freeland, and Hemlock to Auburn, Essexville, and Pinconning. 100.9 The Mitt is the heartbeat of the Great Lakes Bay region and proud of it. We're your home for local sports, local stories, and local pride. Whether you're in Birch Run, Beaverton, Gladwin, Chesapeake, or Coleman. Football, basketball, hockey, Spartans, NFL, Loons, all right here. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan's sports leader.
Bel Air Brown, Dragon's Milk, Mad Hatter, Purple Gang, and Huma Loopalicious. These are names that let the imagination run wild and let the taste buds take a stroll. Welcome to the craft beer craze in Michigan. Bolstered by the Great Lakes and nurtured by the glacier-rich soil, here awaits a brewer's paradise. With fresh hops growing tall in the old Mission Peninsula and fresh barley fields sweeping the mitten, Michigan ranks 5th in the nation in the number of breweries, microbreweries, and brew pubs. From Good Harbor Golden to Whitefish Bay Wheat, from Motown Lager all the way to Park Bench Porter, Michigan is serving up a frosty glass of perfection. Whether you want to take in a game with a Two-Hearted Ale or just sit on a front porch sipping a Steelhead Red, let's tap into life at its fullest and treat ourselves to a taste that's pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
A Monday tradition here on the Ben Bosscher Show. It is the Monday morning stock exchange.
You know what? I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving.
The stock market.
All right. We are selling. We are buying some things from our thoughts from over the weekend. I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be from over the weekend, but I'll kick things off here. Last week, I bought Caitlin Clark stock, and you guys told me, why would you buy Caitlin Clark stock right after she has a fantastic game? This is why, because this is a long-term play. So you know what I'm going to do? After a gloomy 19-10 game, 19 points, 10 assists yesterday, and a loss to the Vegas Aces in what was a fascinating matchup, I'm buying even more Caitlin Clark stock because, again, I think this is inevitably going to be the greatest player to ever come through the WNBA. I don't know when that's going to happen, but it feels like her, obviously she's the biggest star in the league, but her becoming the best player in the league is happening a lot quicker than maybe people expected. She's knocking on that door. Maybe not quite to the level Asia Wilson is quite yet, but that seems to be in the very near future. If I think this person's going to be the GOAT and get a bunch of rings by the time her career's done and MVPs, I'm going to buy even more stock today. So Caitlin Clark stock. That's the first thing I'm buying.
Makes sense. It makes sense that you think that way. So does every single person on planet Earth, you know?
This is like the S&P 500. I'm just going to keep buying some stock every week here, and I'll make money.
Okay, that's fair. All right, I feel like we're going to talk about this later, but I'm going to get it out of the way now. I'm buying Pistons stock, man.
I didn't think of this, but this is good.
As it is, Tyrese Halliburton, out for all of next year. Jason Tatum, out for all of next year. Dame Lillard, out for all of next year, whether they keep Giannis or not. Those are three of the better teams in the Eastern Conference. One was just in the finals. The other one won the finals last year. The other one was in the finals 2 years before that. The East is pretty wide open.
Pistons 2 seed? Pistons top 2 seed?
And the Knicks have a whole bunch of stuff going on, man. They don't even have a coach.
Correct. They don't have a coach.
Like, I would say the Cavs look like the clear favorite right now. But, man, the Pistons have a pretty wide open chance to make a run next year. So I'm buying Piston stock.
I like that. How about this? Am selling Thunder stock. Everyone's talking about this is the beginning of a dynasty. This is the first of many that the Thunder are going to win. There hasn't been a back-to-back champ since the Warriors did it. And that was when they had Kevin effing Durant on their team, along with Steph Curry. So they had two of the top 15, 20 players of all time on their team. I love everything SGA's done. I think the world of Chet Holmgren and what he can become. Jalen Williams grew up right in front of our eyes in this postseason. But it is so difficult to go back-to-back and win multiple titles here in today's NBA, where there is just not a lot of reputation amongst the league. Like, it's so hard to stay good in this era. They're going to lose out on some guys over the course of this offseason, whether it's Dort or Caruso. They're probably going to have to shed some cap here. And I look around this Western Conference, and it's still loaded, man. So I'm going to sell my Thunder stock because I think it's more likely than not that they do not go back-to-back. So I'm just kind of banking on them to not win another title next season. Because we said the same thing about Boston going into this year, and things just fell apart. Teams get a little less hungry. Right. When you've gotten your ring and taste of success at this early of an age, sometimes you take things for granted. You're not as hungry anymore. There's going to be a team that becomes hungrier out west. And I think I'm selling stock here. Nothing against them.
This is also the youngest NBA champion in like 40 years or something.
Correct.
So they're different than the previous 8 champions that didn't repeat.
What's the same is the hunger level. Once you win a title, you just become a little less hungry. You have a little less motive. That's just human nature.
Yeah.
So I'm selling my Thunder stock here. I'm basically saying they're not going back to back, which I think is just more likely than not.
That's probably fair. I have a sell that's kind of zagging that. I'm selling Houston Rockets stock because everybody's buying it right now. Look, great move. I love the trade. KD being your closer, it's a really good fit. You got to keep all of your young assets. You keep Reed Shepard, Jabari Smith, guys that were rumored to be in the trade. The West is still too loaded. I don't think this team wins the West. If they're in the East, they're probably the favorite in the East. But in the Western Conference with the Thunder, just showing how dominant they can be with their defense and the rest of the teams out there, like, do you still like this Rockets team more than the Timberwolves?
I don't think I ever liked them more than the Timberwolves.
But now that they have KD, do you like this Rockets team even more than LeBron and Luka Lakers team that's going to make some moves this offseason?
Look, I don't think, I said it in the news, I don't think this trade has that much to, like, the Rockets' success next season has less to do with Kevin Durant than it does just their guys that they already had getting better, and specifically Amen Thompson, which is why I wrote down, I'm buying Amen Thompson stock. I'm buying Amen Thompson stock because by trading Jalen Green, I think they basically just raised a flag that said, we are building around Amen Thompson. We want this team's identity to be built around this psychopath of a human being and this freak of an athlete. Because I think in an ideal world, he's averaging like 16, 17 points per game, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks. And he's just harassing the other team's best player. Again, he can still hit his peak without stepping on Kevin Durant's scoring. Like, Kevin Durant can be the leading scorer on this team. He will be. Without being the most important or the best player or who this team's identity is built around. That's what I think is very unique about this team. It's kind of similar to the way Indiana's built, where they want to run, they want to get out in transition. It's not their best player, which I do think is Amen Thompson, isn't necessarily just a give me the ball and get out of the way bucket getter like you traditionally see for a team's best player that has title aspirations. This team just wants to play fast, play physical, play defense. Someone's going to be the leading scorer. That's going to be Kevin Durant, but I don't think he's necessarily going to change the outcome of their season. I think it's way more dependent on their young guys getting better.
Okay, I'm going to throw my best one out here. I'm selling my bug spray stock, man. Bug spray does not work. Like, I'm so out on bug spray. I was up north this weekend, a lot of bugs, rainy up there, mosquitoes everywhere. You can douse yourself in bug spray, dude. Doesn't matter. They're all over you. They're immune to that stuff. They've outgrown bug spray.
They've evolved, some are saying.
So I'm out on that, man. Stuff doesn't work.
I don't like the way it smells. I don't like the way it lingers
What's the
on
benefit
your skin.
of it?
Then you got to shower to get it all off. I haven't been up north, and I guess I haven't applied bug spray in a while. But I've never liked
You
the
don't need
smell
to.
or the,
I can tell you that.
Okay. Fair enough. I got a couple more, but we'll save the rest for a little bit later on in the show. We've got some more previewing to do with this Dow Championship that's coming up this weekend. Very excited about that. But to start the 10 o'clock hour, the Tigers' schedule. Absolutely eviscerated them this weekend. Now, looking ahead to this week, what is there to like? What is there not like about this well-needed day off here on a Monday? Ben Bosscher Show, 10 o'clock hour on the way.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
A beautiful yard increases both the value of your home and the quality of your life. Commercially, landscaping creates a positive impression of your professionalism and commitment to community, customers, and employees. Cervinsky Sod has been creating and maintaining outdoor spaces for 56 years. Whether your project is residential or commercial, the team at Cervinsky Sod Services will work with you to build and meet budgets and finish the job with top quality and in a timely manner. To get a quote, call 989-835-4810 or visit CervinskySodService.com.
At Tommy's Express, you can get your car clean, shiny and dry in just minutes. Our state-of-the-art eco-friendly wash delivers a spotless finish every time. With the Tommy Club app, enjoy unlimited washes or paper wash. Skip the line with license plate recognition and manage everything right from your phone. Fast, clean, and simple. Visit Tommy's Express today and see the difference. Text CLEAN CAR to 86697 for a free works wash.
Offer valid for new guests only. By participating, you consent to receive promotional information text from Tommy's Express. Message and data rates may apply. Message frequency varies.
Discover championship golf with amazing views at Apple Mountain in Freeland. Whether you're chasing birdies or just out for a relaxing round, Apple Mountain offers a stunning 18-hole experience for every skill level. Perfect greens, scenic fairways, and a course that plays as beautifully as it looks. Book your tee time now at applemountain.com. Apple Mountain. Golf elevated. Just minutes from Saginaw, but miles from the ordinary.
Tired of floors that snore? Walls that whisper, meh. Premier Tile in Midland is here to spice things up one tile at a time. They've got backsplash that'll make your pasta jealous.
What?
Shower walls that'll actually sing in the morning. And floors so fabulous, you'll consider eating dinner off them. Stylish, affordable, slightly obsessed with grout. Visit Premier Tile, located between Stark and Sturgeon, right off US 10, or at premiertilestone.com.
You want sports takes? You want local voices that own the mic?
Yeah.
We've got it. On Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. It kicks off at 6 a.m. with Anthony Bellino on Spin on Sports.
Rise and shine.
From 9 to noon, don't miss Michigan's newest sports show, The Ben Bosscher Show.
Hey, remember that.
At noon, you get America's smartest sports takes. The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
I want Shador to play.
And at 3, the one and only Bill Simonson and The Huge Show. This is where real fans stay locked in. 100.9 The Mitt.
Sportsmanship has never been more important between the lines in athletics and outside those lines in our communities. To listen, to respect, to understand, to practice common decency, to have competition without contentiousness. Sportsmanlike qualities are essential components of life itself. Let's all work together to not only be good sports, but good people. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
From the Blazy Electric Studios, this is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
Welcome back, Ben Bosscher Show, hour number 2 on the way. It is Dow Championship Week here in the Great Lakes Bay region. We've got a lot of good stuff coming up this week. Pro AMs, we've got Rock the Block tonight downtown. And then, of course, the Dow Championship begins this Thursday. So we're real excited. Kyle and I will be doing the show from the Dow Championship later on this week. I'm filling in for Huge a little bit later on today. Because he's going to be hosting that Rock the Block downtown Midland. So if you're looking for something to do on this Monday, no Tigers, of course, come on downtown Midland. It should be a good time. So with that being said, let's talk about this Tigers team. I asked the people, what was the biggest takeaway that you had for the Tigers weekend down in Tampa that they lost 1-2 in the series? And we got some good answers. Kevin saying pitching needed at the trade deadline. Couldn't agree more. Every championship team has a rough stretch sometimes during the season. Not time to worry. That was from David. I don't think it's time to worry by any stretch of the imagination. That is the luxury of having that big of a cushion and having that sort of success early on in the season. You've got a very large margin of error here for the next month and a half until you figure this thing out. But it's definitely worth noting that this pitching staff is not good enough to win a World Series right now, if you ask me. We need a starting pitcher, period. That is from Richie. If the Rays make the World Series or even the ALCS, it'll be a very embarrassing look for Major League Baseball having high-stakes playoff games played in a 10,000 capacity ballpark. That's from Robert. I guess I just don't understand what the alternative is. Like Brad was saying that when we had the Tigers game on during the weekend too. He was like it's kind of a joke where they're playing. What do you want them to, where do you want them to play? That you have to keep them somewhat near Tampa. It's not like there's just another Major League Baseball stadium hanging around. And let's be honest,
I guess
even if they were playing in Tropicana, that would have been an embarrassment to Major League Baseball too,
Probably
because no one's ever there.
The biggest embarrassment is that they're just renovating Tropicana Field and keeping it. Just make a new stadium, dude.
Or how about this? Move the team. Because there's no actual real fans of this baseball team that live in Tampa Bay, because everyone that lives in Tampa Bay is not from Florida. I went to opening day at Tampa Bay Stadium, Tropicana Field. This had to have been in 2014, 2015. They were booing them. The crowd was booing the Rays, every batter, because they were playing against the Yankees. There were by far more Yankees fans there. I can't imagine.
Keep in mind, this is a team that went to the World Series like 5 years ago.
Correct.
Usually
and
are pretty good.
No one cares. No one cares down there.
Imagine a Rays Athletics or American League Championship Series. Just a couple minor league parks.
If they're going to move a team, because here's what it sounds like. We're getting 2 new teams eventually. I don't know when that timeline is. Like, they're going to expand in the NBA. That seems sooner rather than later. Feels like they're going to expand in baseball to 32. That seems a little bit further away, but still in the possibility of things. If they're going to do that, they may as well do a full relocation and expansion, because I think Tampa needs to move, and obviously the Athletics need to move.
Right.
They need a home.
That right.
They need a home. They're a homeless baseball team. Makes no sense. I don't know how we went. Oh yeah,
the Oaklamento A's, as Jason Benetti called them.
I guess I just don't understand what people want the Rays to do in this situation. It's a tough look. Bobby said need pitching badly. Michael said maybe they aren't as good as their record is. Wow. No, I wouldn't say that. I think they're as good as their record is, but it's trending in the wrong direction. Not to say that I'm worried they're hitting the alarm button here, but yeah, I think everyone's well aware of how much pitching help that this team needs from now until the deadline, and I don't think they should wait until now until the deadline. The number one thing that nobody said in that, what was the biggest takeaway? My biggest takeaway was the schedule just effed over the Tigers this weekend. They played 5 games in 72 hours, with 4 of them getting in a rain delay. You had the doubleheader on Thursday. Each of those individual games went into a rain delay, so you were playing baseball for 10 straight hours. That doesn't even include pregame and going through batting practice and all that stuff. Then you turn around, get on a plane, show up to Tampa at 3 a.m., have to play a baseball game that night. Then you have to wake up at, Lord knows what time they wake up, for a noon game. And then you have another noon game the following day. I've never, I get it. Baseball's a grind. You have to get up day in and day out. It's the sport where you're least likely to, really screw your body up because of a physical injury, but it's just the grind of everyone has some nagging stuff by the end of it, and getting up and doing it every day, the mental tax of it. I understand all that, but that 72-hour stretch that the Tigers just had, brutal, man. I have a hard time seeing, you just don't see a stretch as bad as what the Tigers just went through over the course of 72 hours, where they played 5 games. How is that even possible? 5 games, basically, in 72 hours, from Thursday at 1 p.m. To yesterday at noon when they had their first pitch. Just brutal stuff on behalf of Rob Manfred and the Tigers.
That's what we talked about. The Tigers needed an off day. Easily the most they have all season, but you could argue of any team in baseball, right? Just from the fact that they're the best team in the league, having all these injuries, playing that many games in a row. all in crappy weather.
Yeah.
They needed this pretty bad.
And now looking to this week, they need this off week or this off day because this week should be very fun. It kicks off tomorrow with Tarek Skubal on the mound against this Athletics team that maybe a little feistier than people thought going into the season. But still, like a team that the Tigers should be able to take care of, especially at home in Comerica Park, where the Tigers have seen so much success this season. No starter scheduled for Wednesday, so probably another bullpen day there. Yay! And then Thursday they'll close out that series, and then they get the Twins, a very anticipated series because the Twins have been one of those teams that are kind of red hot here, along with the Detroit Tigers, despite the Tigers having that big cushion over pretty much everyone in the AL Central. So, and then of course Sunday Night Baseball returns for the first time since 2016. It's been 8 years since Comerica Park has hosted that.
I'll give you a.
I'm going to mention that every day this week because I need every single human being in the Great Lakes Bay region to be watching that. I get it. You can't watch 162 games. Even me, it's my job to watch this. I should watch 162 games. It's pretty hard to watch 162 games a year. Sunday is the unacceptable. You can't miss this one. Sunday night, you're not
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, perfect. You can't miss it. And that's the other Sunday Night Baseball, ESPN. There's already a good feel to it. I love that they started at 7 and not 8:30 or 8. It's such a good start time.
Props. I'll give you a prediction for Tigers on Tuesday or Wednesday. I think Reese Olson comes back and starts that game.
Ooh, no bullpen day. Olson back.
Think about it. No scheduled starter right now. Who's the bulk inning guy? Montero was sent down, so unless they call him up, they're not just going to have a bullpen day where 8 different guys pitch. And Sawyer Gibson-Long, it's not enough time for him to go Saturday to Wednesday. And he also wasn't very good, and that was probably his worst bulk inning performance of the season. I think we see Reese Olson called up and starting that game.
That's a good take. I also need to backtrack something I said because I said the Twins were hot. They're actually 1-9 in their last 10 games.
Yeah, the division's really bad.
I don't know where I came up with that. My bad.
They were hot before that.
Yeah, because I remember talking about it. It was like they've won eight games. They've won.
Remember how good we were talking the division
16.
is?
Yeah,
literally,
now there's
Royals,
two
Twins
teams
both
above
below
500.
500, and the Guardians are right there. Yeah.
Yeah, Guardians 39-37, Kansas City 38-40, Minnesota 37-40, and then Chicago 25.
Finally, that
53.
run differential's catching up to Cleveland a little bit.
But that was the thing with them last year, and they still won the division. Remember, they had that miserable run differential compared to all their other.
It wasn't negative though.
Plus 80. Yeah, it was plus 87. But like, even looking around the rest of the
they're
American
minus
League
23
last year,
above 500. How does that even make sense?
They've got that Chiefs juju, the devil magic that they've been working. There is a sense that
my goodness, dude, the Athletics run differential
minus 339. Oh wait, I'm looking at the end of the standings from last year. My bad, because I wanted to see what it was. Yeah,
they're still
Athletics
minus 127 right now, only at 32-48. I mean, that's not the worst record in the world with that run differential, though.
Yankees pulling ahead of everybody here in the American League and everybody in baseball. They've got the number one at plus 110. Tigers plus 82. You knew that would taper off at some point, though, when the Tigers were just scorching hot, blowing.
Well, that was when they were beating
water.
teams, 15-1, just on the regular.
Yeah, that's not happening as much anymore these days. All right, we're going to get to an around the league. I promised you we'd squeak in some Lions. That is what we are going to do next here. But hey, man, if you're looking to do some yard work in this blazing heat, you probably shouldn't. But if you are,
genius idea.
You got to go to Ace Hardware and Sports, located downtown Midland, locally owned and proudly family operated, right here in the heart of Midland. Take advantage of the $3 off Ortho Weed Killer, proven power to take your yard back or go even bigger with the $10 off Spruce Weed and Grass Killer. Tough on the weeds, easy on the wallet. Visit them at East Main Street, downtown Midland, right where local service meets big-time savings, supporting your yard and your community all in one stop. Plus, you can get a donut while you're there. Fascinating stuff. Also, head downtown tonight for the Rock the Block party downtown Midland, because there should be some. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff going on. I'll have more details on that for you a little bit later on in the show. I'll be down there having a good time. All right, and if that's not enough to sell everyone to go down there, I guess I don't know what is. That was one of the more douchey things I think I've ever said. Okay, like I said, when we come back, we'll take a trip around the league. Some Lions in the mix. That's next. Ben Bosscher Show, 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
If you're near retirement or thinking about retiring, you probably have a lot of questions. How do you make your retirement savings last? How much should you take out and when? You're ready for retirement, but are your finances? I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Kevin Spencer. Let's work together to make sure your finances meet your unique needs over the long haul. You've done what it takes to get there. Now it's time to make the most of retirement.
You have better things to do than to job hunt or scramble to find your next great hire. So let Spherion do it. We say local is our superpower because we live and work where you live and work. We know the local job market. We're here in person. And we're locally owned, so you won't find a partner who's more engaged and literally invested in your success. If you're ready for something better, start with Spherion. Visit us online at Spherion.com to find your local Spherion office. Let's get to work.
We're in your town, your school, your huddle. 100.9 The Mitt is here for sports fans in the Great Lakes Bay region. From the hardwoods of Saginaw to Midland's Friday Night Lights. From the streets of Bay City to Freeland, Frankenmuth, and Hemlock. We roll through Beaverton, Auburn, Pinconning, Essexville, and Shepherd. All the way to Gladwin, Birch Run, Coleman, and Bridgeport. This is your sports station. High school, college, NFL, the Loons. It's all right here. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan sports leader. This is more than just a lineup. It's a daily ritual for the die-hard Michigan sports fans. At 6 a.m., Anthony Bellino wakes up the state with Spin on Sports.
I do not believe it.
At 9, the Ben Bosscher Show is appointment listening hosted here in the Great Lakes Bay region.
I would like to buy some Casey Mize stock.
America's Best takes over at noon. The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
Well, what about Patrick Mahomes?
And at 3, Bill Simonson brings it home on The Huge Show. Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt for the most passionate fans in Michigan.
Let's pick out a good wine. Let's discover a new taste from a new place. Let's meet the people who handpick the grapes in places dedicated to the craft, in a land that only knows one way to grow things, rich and full. Welcome to Michigan, where the 4 seasons and 4 Great Lakes smile on the winemaker, where the quality of the wine is exceeded only by the warmth of the greeting waiting for us. And with more than 90 wineries, covering more than 13,000 acres, the harvest has never been better. So let's wander through lush vineyards, discover hidden treasures in vast cellars, and renew ourselves in comfortable tasting rooms. Let's all raise a glass. Let's gather our closest friends and become even closer. Because taking time to toast the beauty and bounty of life is pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Welcome back, Ben Bosscher Show, hour number 2, well on its way. Thanks to everyone who's watching in the YouTube stream. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm having a hard time talking today. I feel like I'm talking a little too fast, a little too jittery. I'm just so excited that the sun is
You haven't had a show in 2 days, man. You're just like, want to get it all out.
I got built up takes from over the weekend.
It's the Dow Championship. The excitement.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Dow Championships got me so excited. We got some good stuff coming up later this week regarding the Dow Championship. We'll be covering that and be live from the course a little bit later on. So before that, let's take a trip around the league.
It's time to zoom out and go around the league.
All right, let's take a trip around the league. Kyle, what do you got in store for us today?
All right, you said we got to get some Lions stuff in, obviously. That's what we're doing. Shout out to Colton Pouncey from The Athletic on the Lions beat. He writes, the most important developmental tasks for Lions offensive coaching staff. So this goes through basically each position group, talking about what guy from that group is most important to really hone in on their development this year.
All right.
So I'll tell you. You tell me, is that the right guy? What do you think?
All right,
let's start off. Quarterbacks coach, Mark Brunell. He chooses Hendon Hooker.
I mean, it has to be, right?
Yeah, it's like there's really no other option here.
If you were making the case for Jared Goff, if he was the most important development piece, it's like, all right, we got to make sure this guy's confident in himself without Ben Johnson, and also confident enough to, like, hey, man, the last 2 playoff games have not gone well. Like, the thing that gets forgotten about that Commanders game is Jared Goff was bad. Like, really bad. And part of that might be because he got popped early, but that's kind of the thing with Jared Goff. If you can get to him early, you can kind of rattle him. And we did see him spiral a little bit in that playoff game. So, what's the name of the article? Is it specifically development?
Yeah, most important developmental tasks.
Okay, then yeah, it's not Jared Goff. If this was important task for the just position coach in general, I think you could make an argument. Like, make sure Goff loses no confidence without Ben Johnson.
Well, that could be your answer then.
But there's not a lot of room to develop for Goff, who's like 30 at this point. So yeah, Hendon Hooker's the final answer.
No love for Kyle Allen as the backup, huh?
No. You took a third-round pick on Hendon Hooker. You may as well use him.
All right, moving on. Lions' new running backs coach, Tashard Choice, he says Sione Vaki as a developmental guy.
By the way, Choice, if you haven't watched the off-season Hard Knocks yet, you guys are going to love this guy.
Oh, I haven't.
It's old. It's like a couple months old at this point.
Oh, okay.
So maybe you have seen it.
I must have missed it.
It was one specifically on the... Wait, did I say Hard Knocks? I meant the...
Like the draft thing?
No. What's their YouTube series called? In the Den?
Oh, Inside the Den or whatever?
Inside the Den. They did one on just the coaching staff. And this Choice guy, you guys are going to love him. He's like a Dan Campbell character guy. You can make the argument it's Vaki, but that's at best case your running back 3 this year.
It's Gibbs.
I think it's Gibbs. Yeah, we got to get Gibbs into that top 3 running back, best running back in the league conversation before we're worried about Sione Vaki and his role with the offense. Because he has like 4 carries in his career. He's a special teams guy, converted running back. I get it. It's nice to have a running back 3, but he's got a point when it comes to new offensive line. So. It's not like it's easy, hey, hand the ball off to Craig Reynolds and run to Frank Ragnow and Penei Sewell. That's not really a thing anymore. So, yeah, there's a little sense of that. And when either Montgomery or Gibbs go down, because it's going to happen at some point, having someone to step up and be ready to take on the role, I get it, but I think it just has to be Gibbs. Man. It has to be.
I think it is Gibbs, too. Colton's argument here, though, is that, hey, Brad Holmes really wanted this guy, took him in the 3rd round, so there clearly is a gateway for him eventually to get some run in this running back room. But I agree, Gibbs' development into being the best running back in the NFL, we've talked about a few times now this offseason, that's got to be top task, right?
Yeah, I'm with you there. But if you're sick for some football right now, go watch the latest Inside the Den. It's a couple months old, but it's all about the coaches. You will fall in love with Choice, the new running backs coach.
Yeah.
He's awesome. And he recruited Gibbs, by the way, when he was at Georgia Tech.
Oh, yes. Yep. I did see that.
So they go way back.
Well, another guy that Lions fans fell in love with last year, Scotty Montgomery, the new wide receivers coach. The group for wide receivers, or the guy, is Isaac Tesla. Rookie.
Yeah, that's probably the right answer. You could make an argument for J-Mo taking that next step up and being a real
last year,
star.
Right?
Yeah, and I think I'm just less worried about J-Mo. I kind of just, as crazy as this sounds, I kind of just trust him at this point. And maybe that's naive of me. Maybe that's
maybe we need to get a full year of that before we fully trust him.
Which is totally fair, but I don't know, just the way the coaching staff talks about him this offseason. They seem to have full trust in him that he's a completely different person than he was a year and a half ago. So I'm less worried about J-Mo getting better. Tesla is in a unique situation to where to start the year, they're probably not going to be asking a ton from him. But if Tim Patrick, who's on the wrong side of 30 and has a very long list of injuries that he has stacked up in his career, if he goes down at any point this season, Tesla actually does have a pretty big task ahead of himself. And maybe that doesn't result in all these mass numbers for those games where he's kind of taking over as the wide receiver 3. But knowing the scheme, run blocking, obviously very important for the receivers under this offense. Even with a new offensive coordinator, I don't think that's going to change at all. So yeah, I think getting Tesla up to speed so that when his name is called upon at some point in the middle of the season, so that he's ready, super important for the Lions. Is it as important as J-Mo taking another step? I don't know. If we get the same version of J-Mo, it's still nearly number 1 offense in the league last year, right? So, yeah, it probably is Tesla.
And I just feel like in a Brad Holmes high draft pick category, guys are just expected at this point to be contributors if they were picked high by Brad Holmes.
You spent a third-round pick on him, and you moved on from 2 future thirds to go up and grab him. Like, whether he likes this or not, the reality is there's more expectation on him because of that move that Brad Holmes made by moving on from extra draft capital. It's the same reason I obsess over, which there's probably no one else in the world that cares about this, but the Giovanni Manu draft pick from 2 drafts ago. It's like you moved on from so much draft capital to move up and take this guy that no one had ever heard of, and it infuriates me. But if they would have taken him in the 6th round, it'd be a loss. Like, who cares? You know?
Let's just skip right over to Giovanni Manu right now.
Oh.
He's the answer for offensive line coach Hank Fraley. You thought maybe Tate Ratledge, maybe even Mahogany, because he's probably going to be playing one of the guard spots. But no, it's Giovanni Manu as the pick here.
And I'm 100% aligned with Pouncey on this one. Because I should know this off the top of my head. I think they moved up into the 3rd round. I think it's the same thing as Tesla. They moved a future 3rd and 4th to take him, or 2 future 3rds to jump up and take him. Again,
yeah, I believe it was a 3rd and a 4th.
No one had heard of this guy. He wasn't on anyone's big board. The draft panel was confused when they took him. So they moved up to get him.
They traded their 3rd the next season to move up into the 4th round to get him.
Oh yes, the backwards logic there makes no sense to me. Again, if they would have just taken him, they would have just taken him in the 4th round. They didn't have a pick, that's why they had to move up to get him. They would have just taken him in the 5th round. He's not the answer here. But you took this guy who comes from British Columbia University, who has all the immeasurables, or the measurables, I should say, like the enormous,
6'7", crazy athlete,
humongous dude that has not a lot of skill. Didn't play at all last season because he just had a lot of developing to do. Well, you took him because of all this character stuff, and you clearly liked what you saw. He better have some, real development this season. That should be their number one priority. Now, even if he, comes a long way and they like him this training camp, he's not starting. But if Taylor Decker goes down, you'd like to trust someone.
How much longer is Decker going to be around? Ideally, Manu's the guy next to Sewell for some time.
Across from Sewell?
Well, yeah, sorry. With the tackle duo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is a really good pick. I would think that Ratledge kind of has to be the answer, though, right? Manu's development is important, but for this specific season, Ratledge being the center is so important.
Enormous shoes to fill. I wonder if when they took Ratledge, they told him, hey, man, you're probably playing center for us. Because he cross-trained at Georgia.
They had to have known at least a chance.
Yeah, it felt like they had known for a while. Ragnow has been debating, but I wonder if they told him, because he's never played center. He cross-trained at Georgia. They cross-train all their guys, but he's never actually played center. You're right. The answer does have to be Ratledge.
That's what I think.
Coyote, too. Or not Coyote, Colby Sorsdale. Another guy.
I would say Mahogany over him, though, right?
Yeah, what I was going to say was I don't think Colby Sorsdale's making the roster anymore. Unless he really can figure this thing out. But they put a lot of stock into him.
Especially Frazier looks pretty good.
Yeah, they invested a lot into Colby Sorsdale, and then it was yeah, we don't like him. Here's 3 new guards the next 2 drafts.
All right, 2 more here. Pretty simple ones. Tight ends coach Tyler Roll. Any guesses on who this is?
No. Is it that
Sam
new guy?
Laporta.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Who's the next?
Then the last one, kicker. Or special teams coordinator, excuse me.
It's got to be
Jake
Bates.
Jake Bates.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know why, but for some reason, even with all the game winners last year and the amazing season that he had, and if you just take his pro reference and put him up against all the other kickers' pro reference, he does stack up as one of the better kickers in the league last season. There's still an element to me where it's I don't know. Every time he goes out there,
there's still a huge element to me that's like that, dude. I don't know what it is.
I don't know either.
We should trust him, but every time he goes out to kick, I'm should we just go for it?
Yeah. It takes.
I think it's also because we've seen it in recent history how fast kickers can just flip the script on if they're good or bad.
Yes.
Just out of nowhere, they can suck after being good and having proof of being good.
Perfectly aligned with you there. All right. NBA Finals wrap up yesterday. Tyrese Halliburton goes down with an Achilles injury. Well, I guess we don't know if it's an Achilles injury, but
it's an Achilles injury.
It's an Achilles injury. Let's just call it what it is. Spade's a spade. How does this affect the Eastern Conference? Should this change what the Pistons are doing this offseason? It's next year. Ben Bosscher Show, 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Parents, summer is almost here. Do you have a plan? Keep your kids active, engaged, and having a blast at Greater Midland Summer Camps. Every day is a new adventure filled with games, sports, creative activities, and new friendships. Plus, new this year, our full-day camps are now at the Greater Midland Tennis Center. More space, more fun, and more memories to be made. Spots are filling fast, so don't wait. Secure your child's best summer ever today at greatermidland.org/camps. The new rebranded Matt Smith Modern Realty.
Well, Matt Smith Outdoors was really reflective of how I started my real estate journey, taking my outdoor experience, moving that into the real estate space to help people buy and sell land. So many people in this region ended up calling me and wanting me to work with them to help them buy and sell homes. This new brand was more reflective of what I'm delivering to people in this region every day.
At Aird & Garcia Insurance Group, they understand not everyone's insurance needs are the same. That's why they're dedicated to working with our clients to provide an insurance plan that's specific to you.
Whether you need life, home, auto, business, and farm, with their team's extensive knowledge and over 100 years combined experience, you can guarantee they work hard to put you in the best insurance position.
The experience matters. Aird & Garcia Insurance Group. Farm Bureau Insurance.
The Michigan Baseball Foundation is more than just baseball. It's a driver of economic growth and community. Operating one of the nation's top minor league stadiums, MBF supports job creation and regional development. Through creative partnerships and charitable giving, MBF has helped bring projects like Dow Diamond, the East End Development, Fairfield Inn and Suites, the Plaza, and the Dow Bay Area Family YMCA to life, generating over $23 million annually in economic impact. Every Great Lakes Loons ticket supports these efforts. Learn more at michiganbaseballfoundation.org.
From the hometown heroes to the college legends to the pros on Sunday, 100.9 The Mitt is your home for wall-to-wall play-by-play coverage. High school football, basketball, and hockey.
Region champions for the first time in school history.
Michigan State football and basketball.
Touchdown, MSU!
The NFL, Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night primetime games. And don't think we forgot about your hometown team. The Great Lakes Loons.
That ball's over and out of here.
100.9 The Mitt. We're in your town, your school, your huddle. 100.9 The Mitt is here for sports fans in the Great Lakes Bay region. From the hardwoods of Saginaw to Midland's Friday Night Lights. From the streets of Bay City to Freeland, Frankenmuth, and Hemlock. We roll through Beaverton, Auburn, Pinconning, Essexville, and Shepherd. All the way to Gladwin, Birch Run, Coleman, and Bridgeport. This is your sports station. High school, college, NFL, the Loons. It's all right here. 100.9 The Mitt. Mid-Michigan sports leader.
They tell us we're more connected these days. We have cell phones, email, text messaging, yet we've never felt more disconnected from the people we care about the most. We need a place that's all about bringing us together. Say hello to the Great Lakes Bay region, where towns like Saginaw, Midland, Bay City, Birch Run, Chesaning, and Frankenmuth help us leave behind the overscheduled world we live in and visit a place we haven't seen in a while. One where the people make us feel right at home. And we remember just how bright our kids' eyes get, peeking through a riverboat railing, just to catch a glimpse of the wildlife. So let's go fishing, bird watching. Let's blow the suds off a local tap, take a tall ship dinner cruise at sunset, or stop by a festival just because the name made us smile. Right here in the Great Lakes Bay region, where reconnecting with what really matters is pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
NBA Finals wrap up last night. Devastating. Oh, I was so sad. I'm not a Pacers fan, but I did kind of fall in love with watching them over the course of this postseason just because it was so unexpected. I didn't even predict them to win the first round against the Bucks. Now looking back, obviously stupid pick by me, but people just kept counting them out, and I ended up falling in love with the team and picking them to win the finals by the end of it because it was just such a fun brand of basketball that they played, something so unique and so against the grain as to what everyone kind of thinks the NBA is. It's just they have three-point shooting, no defense. The defense that they played on the MVP of the league throughout the course of the series was spectacular. They're not just launching threes. This is a team that attacks in transition. I fell in love with the team. And then Tyrese Halliburton goes down in the first quarter, and that's just devastating stuff. But the reality is he's out. Jason Tatum's out. Damian Lillard's out. Those are all players that play in the Eastern Conference. I look around the East. You have the Cavaliers, who should be probably considered the favorites, at least in the regular season. Just a deep team, 1 seed this year, collapsed to the Pacers in the playoffs this year. You have Orlando Magic, who just trade for Desmond Bane and now kind of have their guys in Paolo, Franz, and Desmond Bane. You have the Knicks without a coach, and the Pistons are probably that 4th team. And if Cade can take another step forward, which you kind of just naturally expect, the players who probably take an even bigger step are the likes of Asar Thompson and the addition of Jaden Ivey back into the lineup. This is, to me, like expectations going into the season as a top 4 seed in the East to have a home court advantage next year in the playoffs, because hard to predict Indiana is going to have any sort of... they'll have success without Halliburton, but come on, best player is not there. Bucks without Dame, you still have the best player in the Eastern Conference in Giannis, but it's just not a good roster. And one thing we've learned in the last 2 seasons is you need depth in the NBA, not necessarily superstars. Pacers, great example of that. And then who's the other injury I just mentioned? Damian Lillard out. Oh, but Boston.
Tatum.
Yeah, Boston. No Jason Tatum. Definitely the second best player in the East out. So we were out on the Kevin Durant trade for a while for the Pistons. If I would have known they had to give that little up to get Kevin Durant as what the Rockets did, I think I would have been a little bit more in on it. But I was just out in the idea of sending Jaden Ivey. But if I would have known, like, it's going to cost 1 first-round pick, and here's... do you think it still would have cost Ivey?
You probably still would have had to give, like, Holland, maybe?
I think they like Holland more than they like Ivey, though.
Probably.
Okay, maybe it's just Ivey and 1 first-round pick. If you would have said that, I probably would have been a little bit more open to it. Even though my argument
there's no world where it was like Tobias, Stu, and a pick. I still think Ivey had to be in it.
Well, it had to be Tobias to make the contract
for
work.
money.
But because Jalen Green already got paid, so that makes it a little different. So, but I don't know. My argument was I want to see Cade and Ivey together before we just give up on it, which is
totally fair.
I still stand on that. But again, it ended up being a lot less than you realized. And my whole plan for the Pistons this offseason was run it back, re-sign Dennis Schroeder, re-sign Malik Beasley, re-sign Tim Hardaway Jr. for the right price. And with the addition of Jaden Ivey, treat that as your offseason move. No need to take a shortcut to the top. Just let your guys keep getting better. But now I look around the East, no Halliburton, no Dame, no Tatum. It's like, maybe the Pistons do need to capital, and Orlando, but again, they're unproven.
But how scared are you of them?
They're pretty good. I wouldn't say I'm scared of them just because they're an unproven team.
Are they a lock to go to the conference finals?
No. I'm just bullish on what they've put together over the course of the offseason. But the 3 teams that have the pedigree and have done it in the Celtics, the Bucks, and Indiana, they're all going to be missing their best player. Maybe Halliburton's back by the time the playoffs roll around. Probably will be. But the regular season, maybe. Who knows? But the regular season, totally up for grabs. I think maybe the Pistons need to be a little bit more aggressive here this offseason. And, the free agents are what they are. Like, it's not like there's just some guy sitting there blinking, batting their eyes like, hey, come get me. It's not the reality of the situation. But I don't know. Like, I don't think it's that crazy to say the Pistons could end up playing in the finals next season. And I know that's ridiculous to say right now, the day after the finals. But odds are someone new is playing in the finals or representing the Eastern Conference next season. And we just saw this Cavaliers team have an all-time collapse despite the amazing regular season. But the Darius Garland thing just worries me. That's a very tiny player on the floor at all times. And
he's injured right now.
And he's injured right now.
Off-season surgery.
With him and Mitchell, it's just 2 very small guards, which I just don't know if I can fundamentally get behind that. The Pistons don't have that issue because one of their guards is 6'6" and future All-NBA guy. Was an All-NBA guy this season in Cade. So I don't know. I think maybe the expectation for the Pistons needs to be, let's go to a conference finals. Like, I don't think that's off the table at all. Because, again, odds are someone new is representing the Eastern Conference next season with the 3 teams that have represented it in the past 3 seasons all gone. Or one of their best players is out. So I think it's like Orlando, Detroit, Cleveland and New York. One of these teams is going to be representing the Eastern Conference. I don't see why it can't be the Pistons. So if they need to get a little bit more aggressive here in free agency, or looking way ahead, the trade deadline, similar to the way the Pacers did a season prior when they traded for Pascal Siakam and made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. That seems to be the route for me for the Pistons. And now all of a sudden I'm looking at this like, don't be surprised if the Pistons take another huge step forward and go from 2 seasons ago, 13 wins, to all of a sudden, like 2 years later, playing in a conference finals, somewhat similar to what happened with the Pistons in the early 2000s.
And somewhat similar to what has happened to the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Correct.
Obviously, much different situations, but the Thunder kind of did this path, right? They had the year where they played really good. They ran it back for one season, were the 1 seed last year, and then they made their big moves in the offseason, getting Caruso and Hartenstein. I felt this way the entire time prior to the Halliburton injury, that, look, the Tobias Harris $26 million is just sitting there for you to trade and upgrade that spot. Because if you don't, he hits free agency, that money's off the books, you have to pay Ivy, you have to pay Duren. You basically wasted that contract being able to trade it for a better player. Not saying Tobias sucks or anything, but like, it's an easily movable contract to upgrade that spot. I don't think they should go crazy, but it's looking you in the face.
The thing about the Tobias was great in the playoffs, but it's easily the most upgradable spot for the Pistons.
Totally is.
And I have a hard time telling our audience seriously that the Pistons can win an Eastern Conference with Tobias Harris as their power forward. And this is
what I was just going to ask you.
It's not a diss on Tobias Harris as much as it is
It is.
Yeah, maybe it kind of.
It is a diss on Tobias Harris.
Maybe it kind of just is a diss on Tobias Harris. But it's not a diss because he's been good for the Pistons since he's come back. Like, he was good for Detroit last season.
He's been good, yeah, but like,
it's just like someone you can kind of expose on defense.
You'd love a reliable second best guy.
Yeah,
they don't have that.
Yeah, maybe it's Ivy.
It could be.
But I think this team hits their ceiling when they upgrade that spot.
This is what I was going to ask you. Relating it to a Tiger situation.
Ooh, I love a good cross-sport
comparison. Can the Pistons
comparison.
win the East without having to make a big move? Right? Is there a chance for them to do that right now? Because we talk about the Tigers, how they're already contending for a World Series. Why would they need to buy?
To make your team better.
But can you make that same argument for the Pistons? Obviously, the Tigers are in the position right now where, yeah, they can compete for a World Series right now. The Pistons is more of a question mark. Do you think they can, or would they have to make some moves to do so? Because the East is really that wide open.
I don't think they're good enough to win an NBA
Not competing for a championship.
To win an East?
Not competing for a championship. To win the East.
No, I don't think they're good enough to do that right now.
I agree.
There's one more move. It's the Tobias Harris upgrade. Like, honestly, replace Tobias Harris with Pascal Siakam, and I might say yes. You know what I mean? And Pascal Siakam's not some all-star starter. Like, he's fringe. I don't even know how I'm trying to describe this. He's really, really, really good, but he's not a superstar.
He's a top 25 player.
I'm not asking for a superstar. I'm asking for a upgrade at that position to where you can find someone and turn them into a guy who becomes a Pascal Siakam role, where it's like,
yes,
you not a perennial all-star, but
a reliable second guy next to Cade.
Yeah. That's the best way to put that. 989-837-6125. If you are looking to move this summer, you got to give Matt Smith a call. Meet Matt Smith of Modern Realty, redefining real estate with a fresh, modern approach. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, Matt Smith delivers personalized service tailored to you. Cutting-edge marketing, local expertise, and a commitment to making your real estate experience as smooth as possible. From cozy starter homes to luxury properties, they know how to find the perfect fit. Trust the team that combines innovation and real-world know-how. That's Matt Smith of Modern Realty. I can't talk today, Kyle. I'm stumbling over my words.
It's these reads, man. The reading is off today.
The reading's off. No, even just talking in general, I feel like I'm going too fast. I need to slow down. Maybe I shouldn't have had a Celsius this morning, if I'm being honest.
Out on Celsius.
The thing is, when we do the morning show, I think I need a boost of caffeine in the morning. But the tea's not enough, and the Celsius might be a little too much. I'm trying to find a middle ground. I don't know what to do here.
How about coffee?
That's no different than tea to me.
I think it's a good middle ground.
989-837-6125. We'll be right back. Ben Bosscher Show, 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
It's time to remember that. With Kyle Sandell.
Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent located downtown Midland. Well, the Tigers put up a combined 20 runs over the weekend in the 3-game set with Tampa Bay, but only come out with one win to show for it. And that's due to the fact that the pitching just wasn't on par this weekend for Detroit. A back-to-back blow-up start on Friday for Jack Flaherty. Saturday and Sunday, Brant Herter as an opener, as a mid-game reliever, just definitely has not looked like the Brant Herter that we saw for most of June. Kiter Montero has been sent down to AAA. Sawyer Gipson-Long probably had his worst outing of 2025 so far. So right now, the Tigers are in a spot where they really need to get some momentum going again back on the pitching side. Now, luckily for them, this week they have a 3-game series with the Athletics, so a good chance for them to maybe dial it back in a little bit. But man, does this team really need a healthy Reese Olson to return to this starting rotation? Because Jack Flaherty these last couple outings has not looked like himself, and Casey Mize has been a little bit slower to returning back to early season Casey Mize since he's dealt with a little bit of injuries. I say all this to say, is currently Tarek Skubal the lone starter in this rotation that you really trust right now 100% for the Tigers? If that's the case, then that means starting pitching once again becomes a big-time need at the trade deadline. Remember that. Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent, located downtown Midland.
It is the Scholar Athlete of the Month, proudly presented by Fisher Companies here on Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. This month's recipient is Logan Snyder from Bullet Creek High School. With a 3.94 GPA, Logan's a member of the varsity golf team, revitalizing a program that was dormant when he was a freshman 4 years ago. Logan great at golf and in the classroom, and also volunteers, including at the Midland Miracle Fields.
I love working with those kids, and it's always so much fun to see them getting to play the game we all get to love to play. Just getting to see them going up to bat, hitting the ball, no matter how far it goes, and they're just super excited. It just warms my heart every time.
Logan will be attending Ferris State in the fall and plans to study in their PGA Golf Management program. To hear the full interview and nominate a local athlete for our scholarship program, visit 1009themid.com.
I'm Sarah Stockford, host of 100.9 The Mitt Success Suite, a podcast highlighting the most inspiring female leaders across the Great Lakes Bay region. This month, we spoke with Mary Draves, former Dow executive and leader in the Midland community.
I think as we get a little bit older, we start to care less about what other people think. That's really a great point, yeah. And so as I've gotten older, I think I've become way more comfortable in who I am and what I stand for. And, when you get to that point, all of a sudden, you become less apologetic about who you are. You also, you're like, hey, this is me, I'm cool with it. Yeah. And I think in my 20s versus maybe I'm in my 50s now, it's a very different person. And that's just really part of the continuum of growth.
Listen to the full interview with Mary on 100.9 The Mitt's YouTube. Subscribe and hit the notification button to be alerted when new episodes drop. That's Success Suite with Sarah Stockford.
Detours driving you bonkers? Ideal Party Store's got your back with the Detour discount. While the Lafayette Bridge is closed, enjoy 10% off select craft beer 6-packs and 10% off 4 bottles of select wine, 750 milliliters or more, with 2 great locations, 908 North Johnson on the east side and 401 Salzburg on the west side. Ideal Party Store makes every detour worth it. Serving Bay City since 1934, we're here to make you the life of the party.
Transform your outdoor space with Maple Hill Nursery. Whether you're a gardening enthusiast or just looking to relax in style, they have everything you need. From premium polywood furniture that never needs painting to top quality plants and trees, Maple Hill Nursery has it all. Plus, they offer free setup and delivery on in-stock barbecue grills. Visit them today just north of Midland Mall or check out their website for pro tips and expert advice. Maple Hill Nursery, making your yard the place to be.
Celebrate 4th of July with the Great Lakes Loons. Join us for our block party on Main, presented by the Michigan Army National Guard. Celebrate America's independence with face painting, balloon animals, the inflatable zone on the front lawn, and of course, America's pastime. The evening wraps up with a spectacular fireworks loontacular. presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. For tickets, visit loons.com. This isn't just baseball, it's the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Welcome back in, Ben Bosscher Show, hour number 2 here in the Great Lakes Bay region. Live on YouTube as well. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. If you're watching, we'd appreciate it so much. Let's continue with our stock exchange on this fine Monday morning.
You know what? I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving!
The stock market.
All right, we closed the 9 o'clock hour with this, but we still have a lot more to get to. I told you I was buying Caitlin Clark stock once again. I might do that every Monday. We'll see. I was selling Thunder stock, Oklahoma City. Odds are they don't go back-to-back. That's how people are talking about them right now. Oh, beginning of a dynasty. Not a lot of dynasties happening in 2025 in the NBA. Too hard. Those are the 3 I got to. Oh, and a Men Thompson. Bought a Men Thompson stock. Kyle, real quick summary of what you did, and then we'll get to the rest of ours.
I sold my Houston Rockets stock after trading for Kevin Durant. I bought Pistons stock based off of what we just recently talked about. And I sold my bug spray stock.
Nice.
Because it doesn't work.
I am going to kick off this stock market exchange segment by buying John Jones stock. Here's the theory behind that. He's got one more fight left in him. He says he's retired. Dana White seemed pretty angry while giving us the news that he was retired, but it didn't seem the motivation seems to be the reason. He doesn't have a motivation. He doesn't have any motivation to fight Tom Aspinall. It doesn't get the juices flowing. He's not motivated by money anymore. He says show up to a birthday and get $100,000. So the money's not there. He's got to have some real adrenaline to fight someone. And I think when he steps away here for a little bit, he's eventually going to get that hunger back. And there's one person that I think he could fight that would actually get him up to do it, and that would be Pereira. Pereira would have to go up a weight class, win that title off of Aspinall, which I think everyone is kind of expected here. He was light heavyweight champ, lost the title. Go up in weight class, go get that heavyweight title. If he can do it, I think that is how we pull John Jones out of retirement for one more match. So I'm going to buy John Jones stock. Is that allowed to buy a retired guy's stock? Then I'm doing it.
You can buy stock on anything, right?
Then I'm doing it. I think he's got one more fight in him, even though he just announced his retirement.
I'm with you. I brought this up earlier. I think the odds on him actually being retired are plus. Like, this just happens all the time.
He's retired before. Came back, won a title.
People come back. It just happens. Now, he seems kind of serious about it this time, but still, I'm with you on this one. I like buying the John Jones stock.
Here's the thing. If John Jones wants to fight again, they will put him in the octagon. Like, there's no question about that. It's just a matter of
course,
his opponent. And it feels like he just wasn't up to fight Aspinall. So you can call him soft and ducking a fight for that. That's fine. That doesn't really get my blood flowing either, if I'm being honest.
Right.
If Pereira was to win that title and then John Jones was like, I want to come back, that could be their biggest fight since any McGregor fight. Seriously.
It totally could.
Okay.
All right. Now that the NBA season is wrapped up and NHL's wrapped up, we just had baseball going on, so I've been kind of starting to think about football season a little bit. What kind of predictions am I going to make? I'm buying LA Chargers stock right now.
I was thinking about just buying Texan stock, and I didn't, so I'm glad you just bought a random team's football.
I did, and I bought Bengals stock last week, so maybe I just am doing this on a weekly basis, but people seem to have kind of put the Chargers past, or the Broncos past the Chargers, as far as the AFC West team that maybe has a chance to dethrone the Chiefs. We saw it in that article last week. I don't really understand why. Like, the Chargers were really good in year one under Harbaugh. They've upgraded that running back room. They were, once again, not very healthy last season, so maybe they're just doomed to be healthy all year. But I don't know. I think this is a Chargers team that should be looked at as probably the best wild card team in the AFC. So why can't they go on a run?
If I'm helping out your argument, I think I would tell you better quarterback and better coach than that Broncos team.
Of course,
that's not a knock on Sean Payton, but I'd just rather have Jim Harbaugh.
The quarterback for sure, yeah. The coach is a debate, I guess.
The coach is a debate, but you could make the argument Jim Harbaugh is a better coach than Sean Payton, and there is no debate. Justin Herbert's a better quarterback than Bo Nix.
Of course.
So, but the Broncos have the better defense, and they got even better. Like, they're arguably the best defense in the league last year. Then they got even better this offseason. So, yeah, I'm with you. I'm aligned with you there.
Got some better weapons too. Yeah, I'm in on it.
I'm selling my Coastal Carolina baseball coach Kevin Chenault's stock. So he gets ejected
Had a
from
ton
this
of
game.
That, probably.
Yeah, I had a ton of that before. He got ejected in the first inning, and everyone was freaking out. Like, how do you eject a manager or coach in the College World Series in the first inning? Like, these umpires need to get themselves under control. It's not their show, and like no one's here to see them. This coach was flipping his you-know-what at these umpires. I'm not like agreeing in his their decision to toss him, but when you come out of your dugout that aggressively towards the umpires and you get tossed, you can't be shocked about that. So while everyone's sitting here saying, oh, the umpires, too much control of the game, I actually am going to come to the aid of the umpires here. He was behaving in an absurd ridiculous stuff for a first inning of a game. It's one thing to say you missed 3 calls there, because that's what he said, but he was like more than shouting it. He was like aggressively going at the umpires here. Should he have been thrown out that early? I don't think so, but he also shouldn't have been losing his cool that early in the game. And of course, LSU ends up winning the College World Series. So I'm gonna come to the aid of the umpires. It's the rare Ben Bosscher defends the umpire/official.
The rare anyone defends the umpires.
Yeah,
that's just doesn't happen very often.
He lost his cool way too early.
That's fair. Tough. Our LSU second World Series win too in 3 years. Shout out to them. I'm gonna sell my stock on. We have the NBA draft this week. I'm selling my stock on a top 3 pick being traded because it was discussed. This is specific, I know. This was being discussed ever since the lottery happened. It was like, oh, the Mavs, they could trade it for Giannis. Oh, the Spurs, they could trade it for Giannis. They could trade it for KD. Oh, the Sixers, they're going to trade the 3rd pick plus Paul George for KD or move down because they're contending. Like, these are 3 of the more contending teams to ever have the top 3 picks.
For sure.
They're all just going to stick and pick. And we're not going to have some... I might just be selling on a draft night crazy trade. That's just not happening.
While I agree with you, it's more likely no trade happens than it is that there is a trade that happens. I think, obviously, the number 1 pick's not being traded. Dallas is not giving up the rights to take Cooper Flag. Dylan Harper
I think you could say the same about the second pick.
I agree. Dylan Harper seems like a lock to go to the Spurs to pair up with Wemby. I would not be shocked at all if the Sixers move their pick. It just doesn't make sense to stay there. If you want to take Edgecombe there...
I don't think so.
If you want to take Edgecombe there, like, there's just not a lot of room for him to play right now with Maxey and even Paul George like on that team. You can't really give him the keys to the team, which is probably where the Edgecombe role belongs. You could take Ace Bailey, but it doesn't sound like he wants to play in Philly. I wouldn't be surprised if Philly moved back on the pick and just collected
I've seen the
capital
Markkanen,
there.
Paul George, pick 3, pick 5, swap type of thing. Maybe, I guess.
I wouldn't be surprised if they traded back and just collected a couple more future assets.
Yeah,
because
someone's
the
always got to
future
trade
doesn't
up.
seem too bright right
Someone's trading back, someone's got to trade up.
I think someone could trade up for Edgecombe. Someone could talk themselves into him being the next Anthony Edwards.
Really?
That's kind of who I see when I used to watch him.
Man.
What Anthony Edwards has become over the last year, like maybe makes that a little bit unfair.
Okay.
But that's just kind of like the archetype player that you're looking for when you draft an Edgecombe, like the shooting guard, hyper athleticism,
right?
Can kind of be the not necessarily a point guard, but the pure scorer on your team. That's kind of who I see. All right, I'm buying stock on NBC finals coverage because the ESPN coverage was terrible. For an hour leading up to the game, you just had Stephen A. Smith basically saying, "It's Game 7. Who wants it more? That's all this comes down to. Forget the stats. Which one of these role guys is going to step up?" That's essentially the entire. If you missed out on pregame coverage, that's all you missed. I thought
Sounds like you missed
it
a
was
lot.
bad.
Yeah, it's just a bad product. I talked to you off camera. I'm not a big fan of the Richard Jefferson commentary either. That might be a hot take. Am I selling my Richard Jefferson stock? I don't know.
I'm more so concerned about the pre-post and halftime show with Stephen A. just getting aggressively, not even angry, but like emotional for no reason.
And Perkins just saying the most ungodly things you could ever imagine. And then Bob Myers looking around at them like, why am I sitting at the table with these fools?
Every time it would go to Stephen A, he's just like, it's game 7. Who wants it more? That's all this game comes down to. It's like, okay, we get it. You could have, we're not really learning anything here. I have one more. I'm selling my stock on any person who has ever wrote a passive-aggressive note. I did laundry yesterday at my apartment. I get to the washer, and someone writes this, like, paragraph of a note. It's like, whoever left this mess, like, just know that other people use this washer too. This isn't just yours. Like, okay, you might be mad about that. Last thing I would ever do is go back to my apartment, grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, come back, write a note, and leave it on the washer. That is insane behavior. All right, hour number 3, Ben Bosscher Show on a Monday, coming up next year on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
When the winter chill sets in, nothing feels better than a cozy home. At Answer Heating and Cooling, we know how important it is to stay warm on those frosty nights. Our expert technicians are just a call away, ready to ensure your heating system runs efficiently and keeps your family snug. Don't get caught in the cold. Schedule your winter tune-up today and enjoy a cozy, worry-free home. Answer Heating and Cooling, where your comfort is our priority. Visit us online or call today.
Get ready, Michigan. Field of Frames Fest presented by Dow is taking over Dow Diamond September 26th through 28th. It's the ultimate celebration of gaming, esports, and community, bringing together fans, families, players, and industry pros for a 3-day festival like no other. Watch elite teams battle in high-stakes competition, the Valorant Collegiate Invitational and Rocket League Semi-Pro Showdown, each with $10,000 prize pools, a $5,000 Super Smash Bros. Open Tournament, and a 17U Fortnite Youth Tournament with $1,000 up for grabs. There's live music, entertainment, and activities for all ages, plus educational panels and hands-on workshops for those interested in tech, business, and gaming industries. Tickets start at just $25, and kids 10 and under get in free. Don't miss your chance to be part of a landmark event. Visit fieldofFramesFest.com to grab your tickets today. Field of Frames. Experience the element of gaming.
Wackadoo! Bluey and her little sister Bingo are joining the Great Lakes Loons again this summer for Red, White, and Bluey Weekend presented by My Michigan How. It's 2 games of fun, laughter, and memories with our favorite Blue Healer. Whether it's Saturday night or Sunday afternoon, don't miss out. For tickets, visit loons.com. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. Scrolling? Make it count. Want local sports content that actually matters? Yeah. 100.9 The Mitt is loaded with local highlights, viral plays, breaking sports news, and takes you can't get enough of.
It's hot!
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube today, and you'll never be out of the loop on the Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Michigan, Michigan State, and even the biggest stories in high school sports in the Great Lakes Bay region. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan's sports leader.
The love of the game draws us to sports, as players, coaches, spectators, and officials. For officials, it's a way to stay in the game they once played, to feel the thrill of putting on the uniform, stepping out of the playing surface, hustling to make the call, and building the relationships which can only be built in sports. If you still have that love for the game, we always need new officials. Register now at MHSAA.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
From the Blazy Electric Studios, this is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
Hour number 3, Ben Bosscher Show, live from the Great Lakes Bay region, live from Dow Diamond, right here on this Monday, hot Monday here in Michigan. And you know what? You know who is not red hot right now, Kyle? That would be the Detroit Tigers. Despite being in first place, not necessarily red hot, because this weekend they take the Series L versus Tampa Bay. Last weekend they took the Series L versus the Reds. I don't think the Tigers are cold. They're just not scorching hot right now. And this past weekend was somewhat of a predictable loss. In terms of the series. I certainly didn't expect them to win on Friday with just how weird of a game Thursday was. We talked about that all chill on Friday, that Thursday might have been the weirdest day that the Tigers have all year with the 2 games, double header, and then both rain delays, Skubal pitching in the rain. Thursday was just weird. Then they get on a flight, head to Tampa, and give up 14 runs that day, Friday, on a short turnaround. Then they got to do another short turnaround on Saturday because it's a noon game. Then they the Sunday game's also at noon. Like, just a really weird game all around. They ended up giving up, what would that be? 25 runs this weekend. Yeah, just crazy stuff to the point where I look at this Tigers team and I think the schedule really got them this weekend, first of all. But this bullpen and the pitching staff, for that matter, I think you look at and kind of circle as pretty big red flags right now. Again, this isn't like panic time. This isn't sound the alarms, but you've got 40 days-ish to make the big trades here to help improve this team. I don't think the Tigers should be very shy at making that early here. In the next week, 2 weeks, whatever it is. I don't think you should have to wait until the trade deadline to help improve this team, because right now this roster is struggling to put bullpen arms out there that aren't named Will Vest and Tommy Canley. Herter, Hannafy, Holton. These guys have been disastrous in June. And they don't have other starting pitching outside of Tarek Skubal right now. Jack Flaherty has had back-to-back, not bad games, disastrous games. 7 innings pitched his last 2 games. That's all he's made it. 15 earned runs. 8 walks, 8 Ks. Just has been more than bad. And then Mize just doesn't really look like the same pitcher anymore. He's had these innings, and this is what we used to kind of complain about last year, is like he'd have this outing, first 2 innings really good, and then the third, it's like you walk someone, and then he walks another person, and then he gives up a hit, and he just loses command like really quick, and the innings start to spiral out of control. Well, he's starting to have that early on in these outings, which kind of screws up the rest of his evening to the point where last week I think he did make it through 6 innings, but he has these innings where everything just kind of spirals out of control and it kind of throws off his whole stat line at the end of the game. But he just hasn't looked like the same guy that we saw at the beginning of the season. Neither is Flaherty. Olsen right now is still an IL, but Kyle made a good point. Maybe he starts on Wednesday because they don't have a scheduled starter, and please God, I hope they're not doing a bullpen day, because like I said, the bullpen has been disastrous. So where do you think is the biggest need right now in terms of addition in bullpen or starting arm, Kyle? Because maybe, honestly, to me, that's a trick question, because I think they need to add both those things from now until the deadline. This is no longer just what do they add at the deadline conversation. This is a what do they add from now until the deadline, because I think there's multiple moves that need to be done to kind of make themselves a little bit more bulletproof here by the time August rolls around.
Yeah, there's no wrong answer here based off of the need for both. There probably is a right answer, but I mean, I think you could argue at this point in the season, this is the worst that both the bullpen and starting pitching have been.
Yes.
Up to this point, which is pretty tragic that it's happening at the same time. Bullpen is for sure the bigger need. I would like them to address starting pitching maybe more, but bullpen's the bigger need. I mean, you don't have a single guy before the 7th inning that you trust right now.
No. Brant Herter, 5.4 ERA in June. Brendan Hannafy, 4.76 ERA in June. 3 runs this weekend. Only 2 of them were earned. Tyler Holton, 6.75 ERA in June. It has been a terrible month for the 3 H's there, Triple H. They have to find another arm. Like, you can't replace all 3 of these guys.
They don't have a lefty in the pen you like.
Correct.
That's not a good thing.
You can't replace all 3 of them. Like, there shouldn't be an expectation of like have an entire new bullpen, but you need another guy to take up the 7th, 6th, and 5th innings when your starters can't do the job. Because ideally it's Vest, Canley, 8, 9.
Right.
Or other way around. It should be Canley 8th, Vest 9th. But the guy that comes in, you're basically begging your starter to go 6, 7 innings right now. And
but
that
that's
just
the
hasn't
counter,
really
right,
been the
to
case.
acquiring a starter over a bullpen guy. It's like, well, right now they only have one guy that you really can trust to go deep into a game in Tarek Skubal.
Yeah.
When Flaherty's giving you 3 innings, like, it's not the bullpen's fault that we're already down 6 runs and the starter could only go 3.
Yeah, when Flaherty's surrendered multiple home runs by the time that he gets pulled from the game. It's a tough pill to swallow, and it's a tough situation to be in for the Tigers right now. So I don't know. I struggle to see how people wouldn't think that this is a pretty big red flag, and not to hit the panic button. Like, I don't want to do that, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. The good news, if we're trying to spin this positive, is Riley Green just continues to be a fascinating player and continues to be who I've deemed the face of this franchise, more so than I think Tarek Skubal is, because this man just will not stop hitting the baseball and making plays in the outfield. 360 average, 410 on base percentage, over 1,000 OPS here in the month of June. He feels like a lock to be an all-star at this point.
All-star starter.
Yeah, all-star starter. Thank
sure.
you. Pretty heroic plays he made in yesterday's game, leaping over the left field foul line, over the fence basically to grab, to get a run and close out the bottom of the third inning. There was a runner on third base, and he ends up just 2 outs. He ends up just leaping over that outfield wall and almost flips over it and comes up with the catch there. So he's just been such a pleasure to watch this month. One of the more consistent players on this team, but the fact that he's come along here as someone in June who, like, we were debating when that all-star voting first came out, like, all right, who are the starters on this team? And it's like, Riley's like a borderline starter. Like, we'll see. No, he's cemented himself into being a all-star starter for the second consecutive year here.
I would say that a smaller takeaway from this weekend, Colt Keith at third base kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
but, like, is that much of a surprise? And is it that big of a deal? Not really, because no one thought he was going to come over and be great. And it's not like they had a great third baseman there before, so I'm not saying get him out of third base, but I mean, when this move was initially made, you and I talked about, like, I can't wait to watch him play third base and see how it goes. Well, it hasn't gone well, and this weekend it was on display that it hasn't gone well. As a bat, Colt Keith has been really improving, so I'm not saying, like, get Colt Keith out of the lineup, because he's really been striding this last month or so. But at third base, man, it looks rough.
I still stand by, in theory, that was a correct thing to do. And maybe, I mean, if he can,
and I still think they keep doing it, right? What's their other option? Like,
well, Matt Vierling coming back would be the other option, but you can't.
Yeah.
That doesn't, we have no timeline there, it feels like. Hopefully soon, because he's been rehabbing in AAA, but again, just not ideal right now for that situation. 989-837-6125. Just looking at a couple texts here from throughout the show. Selling stock on Achilles. With the news that Tyrese Halliburton.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, the Achilles have just not really been in good shape.
I think the level of basketball is just played at a much higher level. A higher level of intensity, I should say, right now than it ever has been. You just have to be like a freak athlete to hang on the court. With the level that the NBA players are playing at. Like, the amount of times I've even heard this weekend, like, oh, like, yeah, I don't really watch, like, the NBA. Like, maybe I'll tune in. It's like, okay, this finals has been fantastic. Like, and this is the highest level basketball you'll see. So, I don't know. I get it. It's not for everybody.
And the Game 7 was, like, on par or on pace to be fantastic as well.
Yeah, until the injury happened.
Of course.
I ended up calling my grandpa before the game started because he's like watches basketball every single day. Every single day he just sits down and watches the NBA or the WNBA or college basketball or women's college basketball. This guy was watching Caitlin Clark before everyone else. Like, just a basketball diehard fan. And he's been watching, like, religiously since the 60s. Bill Russell tells me all about him. And I just wanted to get his thoughts on some of this. And he was like, yeah, Tyrese Halliburton, like, what a story this has been. He didn't necessarily agree that the level of intensity was as good as it's ever been, but I don't know, picking a guy that age's brain about everything that he has seen, I always think
to see those different eras, especially if he's not biased toward, the 70s.
Well, he's a little biased towards the 70s, just the way I'm a little biased towards the 2010s and
That's
the 20s. 989-837-6125. We'll hit the news and preview that Rock the Block that's happening throughout, later tonight in Midland, and the Dow Championship that's happening throughout Midland here in the 11 o'clock hour. By the way, how are we going to remember this NBA Finals? It's all coming up. Ben Bosscher Show, 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
This past weekend, the Loons wrapped up an 11-game homestand. The Loons took care of business on Saturday and Sunday, as did host Wade DePaula, homering twice. His homer on Saturday was against a lefty. DePaula, who is a lefty, smashed them all season long. As DePaula swings here in the air to center, it's driving Levison back, continuing to carry, and that ball is up and out to deep left center field. In the windstream, and DePaula continues to mash lefties. Already had the Midwest League lead with 4 out of 5th. And overall, his 9th, a go-ahead 2-run shot. And it's 6-5. Great Lakes. Next up is 9 games on the road. It starts Tuesday in Fort Wayne, coverage at 6:50.
At First Class Epoxy Floor and Counter, floors don't just get coated, they get a makeover. Epoxy's so tough, it shrugs off spills, stains, and even your wildest dance moves. Garages, workshops, anywhere you want a floor that's smooth, shiny, and just a little bit sassy, they handle it all with style. No more boring floors. Get ready to impress everyone who walks through the door. Slide into durability and flair. First Class Epoxy Floor and Counter, where your floors get the VIP treatment they didn't know they needed.
At Sandy Ridge, our completely renovated clubhouse is ready for you. With a brand new full kitchen, a spacious deck, and plenty of room for any event, it's the perfect spot for weddings, parties, or any special gathering. And that's not all. Our whole 16 green has been redesigned and is better than ever. Plus, our greens are the truest around, on par with the top courses, but at a price that fits your budget. Come visit us today at Sandy Ridge and see why we're the perfect choice for your next event.
Celebrate 4th of July with the Great Lakes Loons. Join us for our block party on Main, presented by the Michigan Army National Guard. Celebrate America's independence with face painting, balloon animals, the inflatable zone on the front lawn, and of course, America's pastime. The evening wraps up with a spectacular fireworks Loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. For tickets, visit loons.com. This isn't just baseball, it's the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. Local sports don't stop when the game ends, and neither do we. 100.9 The Mitt is your digital home for the latest news across the state of Michigan. From high school to college and the pros, it's all on our socials. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search 100.9 The Mitt and join the squad. Stay locked in on the latest stats and stories with exclusive video takes from local talent. Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Welcome back, Ben Bosscher Show. Live on 100.9 The Mitt and live on YouTube as well. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. So the NBA Finals wrap up yesterday. If I could just kind of put a pin in this conversation. Actually, you know what? Forget that. I'm not putting a pin in this conversation. I want to, if we were putting this in a time capsule, in 20 years from now, we're going to pull this out. What would be the number one thing that we talk about for the 2025 NBA Finals? And I think it'd be a handful of things. But the 3 that come to mind are the Thunder defense, the Tyrese Halliburton injury, and almost getting the craziest outcome of my lifetime when it comes to the result of the NBA Finals. We were so close, and I thought we were going to get it. If Tyrese Halliburton doesn't get injured, who knows? Maybe we do get it. But he does. That's the reality of things. I don't think the Thunder deserve an asterisk on this title whatsoever. I already see that being thrown around, which is ridiculous. They deserved it. They were the best team throughout the regular season, best team throughout the postseason. They don't make any of their threes, and somehow they still end up winning an NBA championship. So maybe tides are changing in the NBA in terms of what's most important. So for all the old heads out there, too much, no defense, too much three-point shooting. You can't say that anymore because the Thunder were the worst three-point shooting team of all the playoff teams and have the best defense we've seen probably since the 2004 Pistons, and they just won a title. That's what it takes to win a title now. So basketball, maybe back for some people, but then again, the people who are out on basketball because of all those things, I feel like just refuse to watch it and will make no exceptions to their stance on that the NBA is not as cool as it used to be, which, maybe it's not. But The argument of no defense is completely over because the Thunder
It's
defense
completely
is
gone.
The Thunder defense is nasty.
They're harassing. I mean, you can't do anything. As soon as Halliburton left that game, the Pacers couldn't even get a good shot up, let alone score.
Couldn't even get a pass off.
Yeah, like it was just let McConnell dribble around in circles, and eventually they're just going to turn it over. The amount of turnovers that the Thunder generated in that third quarter was unreal. Can I throw a different thing, though, that you might remember this finals for?
Yeah.
Year one of the Thunder dynasty. Right? If we look back 10 years from now at 2025, what if this is the first year of the OKC dynasty, like we had the Golden State dynasty?
See, did we not say this about Boston last year, though?
Can Boston not still be a dynasty?
I think we throw the word dynasty around a lot more than we should. Like,
okay, but
let me ask you this:
this OKC Thunder team is positioned to be a dynasty better than any team since Golden State.
But you still have to do it. Like that's where I run into the problem of like, in theory they could win they could be a dynasty.
They can't do it right now
here.
because we don't know the future. Like,
I
how
know.
else am I supposed to say this?
I know, but we haven't had a repeat champ since Golden State and Kevin Durant. Like, that's what it took. Having Kevin Durant and Steph Curry being on the same team to have a repeat champion. Other than that, Miami, LeBron James, and Dwayne Wade, 2 of the 20 to 25 best players of all time. It is hard to win multiple titles, right? Before that, it's the Spurs. Before that, it's Kobe and Shaq. And all of a sudden, we're just throwing the Thunder into this group. I get it. They're positioned to be good for a very long time, but to actually win it, like it took them 7 games to beat the Pacers. So if that's going to be the case, like the West is only going to get better. Odds are they're playing a better team out of the Eastern Conference next season. No disrespect to the Pacers, but I just struggle to say, hey, this is the beginning of a dynasty. Maybe, but also more likely that it's not. Way more likely that this is not the beginning of a dynasty. It is extremely difficult to build.
It totally is. To your Celtics point, anyone that was saying the Celtics are going to be a dynasty, that's not true. I think the argument was that the Celtics are positioned to go back-to-back. Everyone knew that following this season, things had to change from the salary standpoint.
And
for OKC, they're way different than Boston, man. One, they have a super-duper star. We just talked about Finals MVP, regular season MVP, scoring champ, same season. The 3 other guys that did it all won back-to-back championships. All were part of dynasties.
That's a good point.
Kareem, Jordan, Shaq. And then you have Chet, Jalen Williams, which Chet Holmgren is just scraping the surface of what he's going to be.
Agree with you there.
And you saw him in that game last night. I mean, he was unreal. Now, granted, he's a guy that's been hurt more than he's been not.
How long can you keep all 3 of them, though?
And they're positioned to replace those guys better than anyone else. Not saying that they're going to just get stars to replace him, but this is a team that drafts really well and has the most draft picks to do so.
I understand. I have a hard time saying, like, hey, when we come back, if we're doing, what are we going to remember this finals for? And you saying the beginning of an OKC dynasty, it's like, we got to settle down here before we just start throwing the word dynasty. Like, who is the last real dynasty, man. Do you think?
What did you say?
Would you consider Golden State a dynasty?
Obviously.
Before that, the Lakers? Or would you consider the Spurs a dynasty?
I would say the Heat were a dynasty for 4 straight seasons. 1-2 finals, went to 4. They went to the finals every year of LeBron.
That's not a dynasty
From that 4-year span, they went to the finals 4 years in a row?
I don't think that's a dynasty. LeBron might have been a dynasty, but I don't think the Heat had a dynasty. Two
So what
titles?
is your definition of a dynasty?
I think
you got to win every year?
You got to win 3. You got to win 3 to have a dynasty. 2 doesn't cut it. I wouldn't consider the Bad Boys a dynasty.
Can we start the Heat's dynasty at 2006 and end it in 2014?
No.
Then they'd have 3. Yeah, I know.
No, like I don't think the back-to-back Bad Boys
were
was
a dynasty. They're the long-term dynasty.
They're the healthy organizational dynasty.
Make the playoffs every single season, 5 rings across, 16 seasons, 15 seasons.
Yeah. That's to me a dynasty. The Bulls a dynasty. I don't think the Pistons, the Bad Boys, were a dynasty. Like that, they went back to back. Very few teams have done that, but I don't think that's enough to call yourself a dynasty. Like I think you have to win the 3 titles. So
right, the Bulls.
The beginning of a dynasty, I just have a hard time like ever being on board with like, hey.
So are you just out on dynasties? Like are dynasties over? Because the way that we're plotting through time right now, it seems like a dynasty happens every X amount of years. We haven't had that since 2016, 2017.
I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying if I had to pick, is this going to be a dynasty or is it not? I would suggest, and you had to bet on it, way better odds that you're not getting a dynasty out of OKC. And people are writing them in to be a multi-time champion right now, which I just disagree with, I guess.
I agree with you that it's much harder to do than just throwing it out there.
Like, this team's going to have to deal with a Wemby at some point. This team's still going to have to deal with...
For sure, but...
with Minnesota. Like, there's some hungry teams in the West. And again, now that they've gotten a taste of their title...
But all those teams are just not... Like, Minnesota's almost peaked already. Just with the way that they've handled the cap situation. The Thunder got out in front of the second apron stuff so early, and now they're in such a good spot to recover from any repercussions of that. That's why I feel so confident in them being a dynasty, honestly. Like, I'll just say it, because of how well they've handled the change to the NBA. They beat everyone to the punch, and now they're atop the league while everyone else is in a worse situation than them.
The hunger element to me still is a factor, too. Like, we saw this from Boston this year. They were just sleptwalk a little bit more through the regular season. I don't expect Oklahoma City to be a 68-win team next year, you know? Like, they're not going to be as hungry during the regular season. They're going to kind of believe in themselves, which is a good thing, but, like, you lose that edge that you play with on a night-to-night basis in the regular season. Maybe they're still the 1 seed, but I think when you win a championship that early and you get a little taste of what that's like, you can fall into the trap of we expect to be here every single season rather than being the desperate team that is fighting tooth and nail to get to that spot. Like, some teams have to go through their wounds and their losses, and this team has had to go through very few of those, which, if we're talking dynasty, that counts for something. You know? Like, Jordan had to go through a lot of losses before he got to the top. And then he fought off everyone for a while.
This team was the worst team in the NBA like 2 years ago.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. 989-837-6125. Kevin Leduc in the chat said, my biggest fears in life. Lightning, number one. Number two, ESPN ruining inside the NBA. We were talking about that earlier with the ESPN coverage being disastrous.
It's a really good fear.
That's a great fear.
Likely to happen as well.
All right. I did want to share something with you guys because Rock the Block is later today, downtown Midland. And there should be a lot of good stuff going on for Rock the Block, which is just the kickoff for the Dow Championship week here in the Great Lakes Bay region with the LPGA Tour coming to town really this whole week. And the festivities begin tonight. So stop by downtown Midland tonight, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. LPGA Tour players Kristen Gilman, Caitlin Papp, and Gerline Cower are all going to be in attendance for a Q&A session hosted by the one and only huge Bill Simonson. There's going to be some mini golf, balloon, artists, autographs, and some live music, all free to the public. So stop by Rock the Block for the Dow Championship, kicking off big event, big week here on this Monday. And then while Huge is doing that and hosting the Q&A, I'll be doing the Huge Show from downtown, but not in the sun because it is way too hot outside. 989-837-6125. We'll hit the news when we come back. Ben Bosscher Show live on a Monday here in the Great Lakes Bay region and 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Hey, sports fans heading up north? Whether you're gearing up for the big game, hosting friends, or winding down after a long day, Hops and Schnapps is your ultimate beverage destination. With one of the largest selections of beer, wine, and spirits in Michigan featuring over 1,000 options from around the globe, we're your beverage experts. Plus, our friendly team is here to help you find the perfect pick. Visit us in Standish, Grayling, and Gaylord today. Hops and Schnapps, raise your glass, raise your spirits.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Ace Hardware and Sports in downtown Midland has some extra savings for rewards members this month. Let's clean up that yard. Save $3 instantly on select Roundup and Ortho weed killers. Save $10 on 64-ounce spruce, weed, and grass killer. You know what season it is? Grilling season. Free assembly and delivery on grills, $399 and up from brands like Weber and Traeger. Need that deck touched up? Do it and save $10 instantly on a gallon of Cabot exterior stain.
The doctors at Midland Eye Care want you to know a comprehensive eye exam is the only way to protect and detect vision-related disease. It goes beyond improved vision from glasses or contact lenses. Many common eye diseases such as glaucoma, diabetic eye disease, and age-related macular degeneration often have no warning signs. A dilated eye exam is the only way to detect these diseases in their early stages. This message brought to you by Midland Eye Care, your vision source on Eastman Road in Midland, on Cedar and Gladwin, and now on East Washington in Freeland.
Hey, did you guys catch anything yet?
Not a thing.
Bummer, neither have we. I'm actually just about to head into town. I'm going to go into Higher Standards Automotive. They got this award-winning service department with amazing technicians and this large parts department in case I want to fix it myself. They got the part there.
Whatever.
No, I'm serious, man. It's out there.
Yeah, just like when you tried to convince me Bigfoot was real.
Ray?
Bigfoot's behind me, isn't he?
Yeah, we got it. Run! Get out! Stop into Higher Standards Automotive, North Eastman Road in Midland, right past the mall.
Now, wait a second, Sharon. So the Midland Area Community Foundation runs the Midland Area Santa House?
You bet we do.
And Midland Area River Days?
Absolutely.
Plus scholarships for students and grants for local nonprofits? That's like hitting the cycle and impacting our community.
Anyone can step up to the plate and help build community capital for as little as $5.
$5? That's the cost of a snack at the ballpark. How do I get in the game?
Just visit midlandfoundation.org and make a gift to our community investment fund. Every dollar makes a difference.
Join the team. Give today at midlandfoundation.org.
Have you noticed bad behavior has become normalized at interscholastic athletic events? Some fans seem angry. They lack civility toward one another. Some even get aggressive and unruly. Time out! What is going on? This has to stop. Let's not forget, school sports aren't just about winning. And they're definitely not an excuse to take your frustrations out on the official or the opponent. They're about teaching lessons like perseverance, respect, and empathy, so students can learn and grow as people, not just as players. We all have a role to play in setting a good example for our students and teaching them these important values. So fans, it's time to step up your game and behave positively at interscholastic athletic events in Michigan.
This message presented by the MHSAA and the Michigan Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, let's hit the 11 o'clock news.
The Mitt's Morning Catch.
All right, Ben, we had a good amount of stuff that we didn't get to earlier, so let's get into that right now. We get some Michigan State football news. Look at that, man. 4-star wide receiver Tyron Wortham flipped his commitment from UCF to Michigan State this weekend. He's from Florida, 6 foot, 185. A lot of Spartans football guys on X are pretty hyped up about Jonathan Smith's recruitment this last couple weeks.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I'm not 100% locked into the recruiting world right now with the Tigers and everything going around. Yeah, and there's just so much of it. But obviously, rooting for Spartans and Wolverines to keep landing these guys. Hopefully, Michigan State can keep doing it, because if not, Jonathan Smith's going to be on the hot seat, right? Like, he's going to have to put together 7-8 wins here to keep his butt safe. With a new AD in charge, expectation should be high this year for the Spartans. Not because, like, the roster's so good, but because if it's not, then new coaching coming.
Which is hard to do because of how good the Big Ten is likely going to be again. So We'll see. More football news turning to pro. Your boy, Travis Hunter, finally has signed his rookie deal, leaving just 2 rookies unsigned. I don't think there was ever a doubt that Travis Hunter was going to get signed. Did you see the Jags tweeted the way they tweeted his contract?
Yeah, they did 2 different posts, right? We've signed DB Travis Hunter, and then they did another one. We've signed wide receiver Travis Hunter.
Yes, that's cool, man. I love how the Jags have like embraced the whole 2-way thing. I think it's super cool.
I think he was the highest. It's the most amount of guaranteed money for a non-quarterback ever that didn't go number 1 in the draft ever. He gets all the signing bonus right up front. He deserves it, man.
Awesome news.
He deserves it.
He does. I'm excited to see how it goes. You mentioned this a little bit earlier, but LSU winning the College World Series over Coastal Carolina yesterday. They've won 2 World Series now in the last 3 years. Obviously, 2 years ago, a loaded team. Paul Skeens, Dylan Cruz go 1 and 2 in the draft. This year, probably going to have the first overall pick as well in Cade Anderson, left-handed pitcher. But nonetheless, LSU atop the College World Series game.
Shout out LSU. I watched approximately 1 inning of this game.
And then saw
number
the
2.
Coastal Carolina manager freak out and just was done.
He freaked out a little too much for my liking. I get it, show some passion, but you can't be shocked when you get tossed from a game when you come out of your dugout that aggressively towards the umpires.
Yeah, I agree. This is a little bit older news that we mentioned earlier, but I feel like we do need to at least bring it up. Kiter Montero has been sent to AAA. They brought up Dylan Smith for the weekend. This was a little bit unexpected, right? I mean, it's not like Montero has been great by any means, but with all the injuries they've been dealing with, they kind of need these bulk guys. I guess they just trust Sawyer Gibson-Long to be that guy for now, and they didn't want to have 2 of them. But nonetheless, Montero back to Toledo.
Whose spot does Reese Olson take if he's coming back this week? Is it just Dylan Smith?
You would think Dylan Smith, but yeah, it's probably just Dylan Smith.
Or you just cut ties with Tyler Holton? See you, man.
That's what I was like. I don't think you quite DFA any of those guys yet, especially because they just don't have another lefty. Now, not saying they're good, but just having the lefty is still something. So we'll see. I think Reese Olson, though, should be coming back hopefully soon.
Pray.
All right, talked about it earlier. John Jones, he retired. Pretty unfortunate news. And then in the UFC as well, Jamal Hill lost in the UFC main event on Saturday to Khalil Roundtree Jr. What's that, 3 straight losses, you said?
3 straight losses for him. He had the title fight against Pereira, and I was all excited. This was before Pereira was like really Pereira, and maybe he was becoming Pereira. Maybe this fight was when he became Pereira, but I was all hyped up. I was like, hey, Grand Rapids guy fighting for a world title, a UFC championship, and then he just got destroyed in a matter of 2.5 minutes by Pereira. Fight was over. And then Jamal Hill has not won a fight since then. So, tough scene for our guy representing Michigan. Probably never getting himself back into the title picture. Hard to do that after 3 straight losses. Career's probably
Can't
done.
blame him,
especially
though,
he's like 36, so.
Right. Getting whipped by Pereira, though, happens, man.
Yeah, happens. Yeah, happens.
Just happens.
But now he's losing to like nobodies on UFC Fight Night, not even pay-per-views. It's like, yeah, he's probably never getting himself back in the title.
At least he's still got the main event, but yeah. Kevin Durant traded to the Rockets Sunday morning for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, pick 10, 5 second-round picks. We talked about this a lot from the Houston perspective, Ben. What about from the Phoenix side of things?
It's the worst return on investments probably in NBA history, considering what they gave up to trade Kevin Durant. Was it 4 firsts, Cam Johnson, and Mikal Bridges?
Yeah, it might have been 5 firsts plus all their swaps, too. Like, they don't own any of their picks, control of them at least.
So they give up all that to get them, and then you get 1 first-round pick back in return. The 10th overall pick.
Made the second round of the playoffs once. Got swept last year in the first round.
Didn't even make
it this year.
So now you're looking at like Devin Booker and Jalen Green, your turn, my turn offense. I don't feel bad for any Suns fan out there because, well, maybe I feel bad in the sense that your owner's a lunatic and has been the most hands-on, irrational owner of the last 5 years since he's bought the team. And then came out and said a couple of weeks ago, I plan on being more involved. I've been sitting back a little bit too much. I feel for the Suns fan because that's insane behavior, and as long as Matt Ishbia owns this team, you're probably just going to continue to do stupid, irrational things. But that does not sound like fun basketball to watch. The Devin Booker, Jalen Green, your turn, my turn offense.
Do we feel bad for Devin Booker at all?
He seems like he wants to be there, man.
I mean, he does because he Kobe was his idol. Like, he wants to be the same team whole career guy, which you have to respect that in today's NBA.
Devin Booker ain't young anymore, though.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, he thugged it out in Phoenix for like 6-7 years when they were just terrible. And then now they went to the finals, obviously, a year before KD, but like a 4-year run of being solid, and now they're just right back to this, this dump that they're in.
He's 28, going to be 29 by the time in October. So, like, he should be like hitting his peak right now, and instead they're going to take a massive. They didn't make the playoffs, and they're about to get even worse. Unless they can flip Jalen Green, but I don't understand what they're flipping Jalen Green for. I don't know who wants Jalen Green.
But yeah, exactly. Who wants him is the biggest question there.
So
Him,
Jordan
they
Poole
had no
and Jalen Green,
trade.
not all that different to me.
Really? Both overpaid. I would agree with you on that.
Both overpaid and just kind of black holes on offense. You give them the ball and it's just not coming back.
Still no point guard. Now they just have Beal, Booker, and Jalen Green.
Disastrous.
Pretty nightmare trio there.
I'm a big NBA League Pass guy. Like I watch games in my spare time. Probably won't be watching a ton of Suns games next year.
Booker to the Pistons talk, that'll come back up at some point.
Of course.
With all this going on. All right, let's flip things over to the game of golf. On the men's PGA side, Keegan Bradley pulls off a huge comeback Sunday to beat Tommy Fleetwood in the Travelers Championship. Fleetwood was going for his first ever PGA win and choked, basically. So unfortunate for him there. And then on the women's PGA side, in the LPGA, Minjee Lee winning the women's PGA championship. So this was a major in the LPGA this weekend. It's Lee's third major win as well. So it's a big time one for them. And obviously coming off of a major, now they had the Dow Championship this week, which is a major event here in Midland, obviously.
Great for the community. Great for all those involved. They do a great job putting that on. I'm trying to currently search for odds on the LPGA, but I don't know if those are out or anything. Do you think there's LPGA ads? I'm also looking it up, but nothing comes up.
They definitely have them for when they had the majors and stuff.
It might still be a little bit too early in the week for there to be odds. But you never know. I am excited to. I think the plan for us is to do the show from there in the second half of this week. So it'll be the first time the Ben Bosscher show hits the road and gets a little exposure. So doing the show from the event should be fun. I did find the odds though. Dow Championship odds. Let me make sure this is this year though. Nope, this is last year. Oh well, there'll be odds eventually. Oh, I think I found it. Dow Championship 2025 preview and odds. I do not see. Oh, we've got 6-1. Yin and Diddical. I think those were the winners from last season.
Nice.
Or last year. So, yeah. Lexi Thompson and Henderson, 13-1 odds. Remember last year when Lexi Thompson was in town, it was a huge deal because it was she's retiring. This is her last year doing the Dow Championship. Now she's back. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of digging and investigation as to what happened there. Because I was that's all we talked about last year this time. It was Lexi's last time doing the Dow Championship. And now she's back. So I don't really know what happened in the past year. I'll find that out.
Well, no, John Jones,
I'll find that out. I'll have the answers for you once we are doing the show from the Dow Championship this week. But again, Rock the Block is tonight, downtown Midlands. You got to come check it out. Huge himself, Bill Simonson, going to be hosting the event with a Q&A with some of the players. So you're going to want to get down. Live music, free to attend. The Commons will be open. Always a good spot to hang out when you are downtown Midland. Should be a good time. I'll be there. Come say hi. 989-837-6125. We will close out today's show with the same way we close out every show. Two traditions here on the Ben Bosscher Show. The lock of the day and predicting what the one and only Colin Cowherd is going to open with. That is all next here on the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
It's time to remember that. With Kyle Sandell.
Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau Agent, located downtown Midland. Well, the Tigers put up a combined 20 runs over the weekend in the 3-game set with Tampa Bay, but only come out with one win to show for it. And that's due to the fact that the pitching just wasn't on par this weekend for Detroit. A back-to-back blow-up start on Friday for Jack Flaherty. Saturday and Sunday, Brant Herter as an opener, as a mid-game reliever, just definitely has not looked like the Brant Herter that we saw for most of June. Kiter Montero has been sent down to AAA. Sawyer Gipson-Long probably had his worst outing of 2025 so far. So right now, the Tigers are in a spot where they really need to get some momentum going again back on the pitching side. Now, luckily for them, this week they have a 3-game series with the Athletics, so a good chance for them to maybe dial it back in a little bit. But man, does this team really need a healthy Reese Olson to return to this starting rotation? Because Jack Flaherty these last couple outings has not looked like himself, and Casey Mize has been a little bit slower to returning back to early season Casey Mize since he's dealt with a little bit of injuries. I say all this to say, is currently Tarek Skubal the lone starter in this rotation that you really trust right now 100% for the Tigers? If that's the case, then that means starting pitching once again becomes a big-time need at the trade deadline. Remember that. Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent, located downtown Midland.
Wackadoo! Bluey and her little sister Bingo are joining the Great Lakes Loons again this summer for Red, White, and Bluey Weekend presented by My Michigan Health. It's 2 games of fun, laughter, and memories with our favorite Blue Healer. Whether it's Saturday night or Sunday afternoon, don't miss out. For tickets, visit loons.com. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team.
At the Great Lakes Loons, our commitment to community goes beyond the ballpark. Through the Volunteer program, Loons staff and even players roll up their sleeves to serve the Great Lakes Bay region. From packing food boxes to reading in classrooms and even cleaning up local camps and parks, it's hands-on work that helps build a stronger, more connected community. Volunteer isn't just what we do, it's who we are. Because being part of this region means showing up when it counts. The Great Lakes Loons, serving the Great Lakes Bay region since 2007.
From Midland to Bay City, Saginaw to Sanford, from Frankenmuth, Greenland, and Hemlock to Auburn, Essexville, and Pinconning, 100.9 The Mitt is the heartbeat of the Great Lakes Bay region, and proud of it. We're your home for local sports, local stories, and local pride. Whether you're in Birch Run, Beaverton, Gladwin, Chesaning, or Coleman, football, basketball, hockey, Spartans, NFL, Loons, all right here. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan's sports leader.
Hey, I'm Ben Bosscher.
And I'm Kyle Sandel.
And the two of us are live every weekday on 100.9 The Mitt at 9 a.m. until noon, giving you opinions on the teams that you care about the most.
The Lions, Tigers, Red Wings, Pistons, those teams.
And a whole lot more. Whether we're breaking down a game from the night before, debating the biggest news from the day, or doing a draft or spread picks, we're always having fun. I mean, come on, it's our job to talk about sports. How could we not be having fun?
So if the big games aren't enough for you, if you're a real diehard fan, this show is going to be perfect for you. You can count on us to be your morning sports outlet every day.
The Ben Bosscher Show with Ben Bosscher and Kyle Sandel on 100.9 The Mitt.
This is more than just a lineup. It's a daily ritual for the die-hard Michigan sports fans. At 6 a.m., Anthony Bellino wakes up the state with Spin on Sports.
I do not believe it.
At 9, the Ben Bosscher Show is appointment listening hosted here in the Great Lakes Bay region.
I would like to buy some Casey Mize stock.
America's Best takes over at noon. The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
Well, what about Patrick Mahomes?
And at 3, Bill Simonson brings it home on The Huge Show. Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt for the most passionate fans in Michigan.
We are the NFHS. That stands for the National Federation of State High School Associations. But really, what we stand for, together with the MHSAA, are the 292,000 high school sports students in Michigan. And so we stand. We stand for the runners, soccer, and basketball players. We stand for their coaches, administrators, and officials. We stand for the swimmers, football players, and wrestlers. We stand for the golfers, softball, and volleyball players. We stand as the national leader and advocate for high school athletics and all who participate in them and make them possible. Because it is our purpose to ensure that high school students get to play, perform, and compete together. To learn more about who we are and what we stand for, visit nfhs.org.
The Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
Into the Ben Bosscher Show. We're going to close every show the exact same way. We have two different traditions. The first of them being the lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Lock of the day did not treat us too kindly last week, did it, Kyle?
No.
Didn't treat me, I guess. I got to stop roping you into this.
Yes, I know. Unless when you're winning, though, you can, I'll take that. Yeah, last week's stats.
Sum up last week for me.
1-4 record-wise. You went 3 units under last week, just hitting the one bet. That was a plus 100. So down 3 units on the week. And now all-time, you are down 1.32 units, including an all-time record of 6-9. It was the first L week. First time you've taken L in the week, and now you're under as well, 3-game losing streak.
You know what? I hear that, and I use it as fuel, and use it as motivation. Use it as a way to get back into the win column, Real motivated here on this Monday to get back into the win column. So the tough part about this stretch of Lock of the Day is there's not a ton other than baseball going on right now. And I feel as if baseball is one of the harder sports to bet on. Once football season rolls around, I'm going to feel a lot better because we'll have Monday, Thursday games to cover us those days. We'll find some prop we like. Basketball, I'm always okay at. But baseball, every day finding something can be tough. That's not going to stop us, though. That's not an excuse. I'm ready. So today, I'm heading to baseball. And today, I'm relying on the hometown hero. Spencer Schwellenbach of Heritage High is on the mound today for the Atlanta Braves. He has 17 Ks his past 2 outings. Last 5 outings, 8 Ks, 9 Ks, 4 Ks, 11 Ks, 11 Ks. Today's over-under is set at 5.5. Why is that? It seems like it should be a little higher with the success that he's had here in the past few days. Well, the reason that it is only at 5.5 is the Mets are not a team that strikes out very often. 7.8 strikeouts per game. That's top 10 in the league for lowest. Now, that's still over 5.5, but again, you don't know how long Schwellenbach's going to be out there. But his last 5 outings, he's stayed out there a good amount. He's getting Pete Alonso at least once. Maybe it's a home run, but Pete Alonso's also striking out at least once tonight. Maybe 2 times. Can you rack up another 4 or 5 strikeouts of non-Pete Alonso at-bats? I think he can. When in doubt, when your back's against the wall, you got to rely on the people from back home. And right now, Spencer Schwellenbach is that person for us here in the Ben Bosscher Show. So today's lock of the day is going to be Spencer Schwellenbach over 5.5 strikeouts for the Atlanta Braves against the Mets in Citi Field today.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Kyle, your thoughts on today's lock of the day?
I mean, how can I say this is a bad pick, right? It's Schwellenbach. I feel like it'd be disrespectful if I just came on here and was like, yeah, terrible pick. I think this week...
You're pretty honest, though. Usually you do tell me when they're terrible picks.
And I'm going to switch things up this week. I'm letting you ride this week. You know what? All of your picks, I love them. I love all the picks.
No, I like
this
this even less, honestly. I don't know if I like... I need your honest feedback.
I've been doubting your... Yeah, but I just kind of let you rock because the picks you're going to have this week are going to be like niche because there's not a lot going on. Like I'm expecting Wednesday like a draft bet.
Oh, there'll be a draft bet for
like
sure.
This guy to go 4th overall. Like I'm excited for those.
We just need some of the leaks to start coming out. The year it was Chet. This was the year it was. What was it? Chet, Paolo, Ivy, and
2022,
and Jabari at the top. I made some good money on that one because there was all these leaks coming out, and then if you follow the leaks and hop right onto generic sportsbook, you can actually get some great value on some of these bets. So we will have some NBA draft bets for you guys probably on Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday. Maybe it's as early as tomorrow.
Hey, this is when you really get in your bag as far as what bets you're placing. This is really you showing off this week. So if people really believe that you're him at heart when it comes to this, they'll ride you this week.
All right. With that being said, time to move on to tradition number 2 to close out every show. Guessing Colin Cowherd's Open. We were on fire last week. 5 points? Did we go 5 for 5?
We went 5 for 5. We have peaked as a society on the Ben Bosscher Show. We'll never be this good.
It's impossible to be better. So we try to predict Colin's Open for every show that he does because he takes over the airwaves at noon, and we went 5 for 5 last week. We'll see if we can continue it today. One of us is likely scoring a point, but I wanted to talk to you about this. How specific do we need to be? Because I don't think there's any doubt he's going towards the NBA Finals.
I think today we have to be pretty ultra specific.
So more so than just picking a team. Like, because last week we were doing like, does he open with the Pacers or the Thunder? Now I feel like it has to be a slightly more specific than that.
Like, what is he talking about with each team?
What is his take?
Right.
Today's
my go first day.
Okay.
I'm the evens days. It's tied up 4-4, which is just unreal. So obviously, let's talk through this because there's a lot of different ways you could go. The Halliburton injury, I think, is a specific way that you could go. Just talking about how that affected the game. The Thunder defense being so good could be the thing. I'm going to lean into this is actually so hard. Because he could go the dynasty route, right?
Mm-hmm.
He could say screw the finals and go KD got traded.
He could.
He could. I'm going to lean into the Shea conversation, though, about how Shea's historic season was capped off last night. And we're looking at the start of a tremendous career and a top 10 all-time type guy with the MVP, Finals MVP scoring title. I think he leans that way.
I'm glad you're the first pick here.
Yeah, it's hard.
And even if I had the first pick here, I don't think that's the direction I would have gone. I think the bigger story out of last night is Tyrese Halliburton tearing his Achilles. I think he goes more towards a route that's like the Thunder win a championship, but this is always going to be known as the game that Tyrese Halliburton tore his Achilles. I think he centers the topic around that rather than the Thunder actually winning a title here.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's such a loser way to go.
Is it?
Right?
I don't think
instead
so.
of just talk about the team that won.
Is it not the biggest story? Like, that's kind of where we led with things because, again, I don't think there's an asterisk, but it's always going to remember. Oh, yeah, Game 7 NBA Finals 2025. I was so excited to watch it. Tyrese Halliburton hit 3 threes in a matter of 90 seconds, and then he tore his Achilles, and the rest of the game was pretty deflating. That's always probably going to be the way I yeah. Game. I don't think it's the loser way to go. It's just the Now, if he goes, doesn't. Unfortunately for a non fan of each team, like a non-Thunder fan, I'm just gonna remember this game for the time. I'm going with it. You know what we failed to mention throughout the course of the last 3 hours, though, was the fact that this was the Thunder's first ever title. And one of my biggest takeaways from watching the game last night was the fact that no one sat down the entire game. You don't see that anymore. Even LCA that was starving for playoff basketball. Big situations, the crowd stands up, but no way they were standing for the entire course of the game. So Oklahoma City's never won a title in any sport because that's the only professional sport that they have is the Oklahoma City Thunder. So the fact that they were it felt like old school vibes to the game because the atmosphere was next level. It was a team, an organization, and a city starving for an NBA championship, for any sort of title, because they had never done it before. And the fact that everyone was on their feet for the entire course of the game, from the time pregame introduction started to the time that they were hoisting the trophy above their heads, that crowd was so loud, like rarity that you hear it through the TV, how thunderous it is in there. No pun intended. But it really was a different sort of atmosphere. You didn't see a lot of people on their phones. Everyone was engaged. That doesn't happen very often anymore. And I thought that was one of the best atmospheres I'd seen, at least through the TV, in a long time in the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, totally. And both of these teams fit that, right? I mean,
yeah.
The Pacers, when they had the home games, two cities that just love basketball. And the Thunder have had the best home court advantage all playoffs long. And we saw that even when back in the KD Russ days, right? Like, their home court advantage is pretty unreal. And they get their first, they get the first title in Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm.
Do you count the Seattle thing? I know that's a big topic.
Yeah, I don't know. It's Oklahoma City's first title for sure, but like
but it's the franchise's second title.
I don't think you can count them.
No.
I think this is the first title for the Thunder. The fact that they changed names and cities, I think it's their first title.
Like, they didn't just move from... Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like, they don't...
I count it, though.
Do they have the Seattle Sonics banner hanging up in that arena?
That's a really good question.
I wouldn't think
Probably
so.
not, right?
I don't
know.
So.
all the franchise stuff got thrown out the window when the NBA was like, yeah, even though the Pelicans are technically the Hornets, let's give all of the Hornets history to the Bobcats, even though they literally are not the same franchise.
I've gone through the history of this multiple times.
Don't get me started on this.
I don't really understand what happened there to this day.
We could do an entire 3-hour show of me complaining about this because it makes no sense and it's so confusing.
Give me your best minute on it.
Okay. The Charlotte Hornets moved to New Orleans and became the New Orleans Hornets. AKA, they own all the history of the Charlotte Hornets. Correct, right?
The Pelicans.
Well, they were the Hornets at first.
Yes.
That's where we're going here. Then the Charlotte Bobcats came into the NBA. Started a brand new franchise from scratch, as if the Las Vegas blank got created. And then the New Orleans Hornets changed to the Pelicans, and then the Bobcats were like, let's change back to the Hornets. And the NBA was like, yeah, you get all of the Charlotte Hornets' old history, even though you're a completely different franchise. And now the Pelicans got screwed, and they have nothing. They're their own thing now.
Speaking of
That's my
lost franchises that probably should get up and move cities and change names.